Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of international rugby. In this game, it has been a little bit hectic before it's even started. We have seen late changes for the Springboks. We've seen a late change for the English too. It's all taken place, and it is coming up in the very near future for the kickoff of this game. Now, what we are also mentioning is Wales versus Fiji is still taking place. The Welsh have a 5-metre scrum. That game has been running for over 2 hours, so they are taking their time to get to the end result. But Wales currently leading 32-24 with a chance to go on to win that game very soon. But looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides, Oxenstad in the number 1 jersey with Malcolm Marks at 2 and Thomas du Toit slotting in at number 3. Eben Etzebeth was initially going to be in the 4 jersey, but now Pieter-Steph du Toit moves into the locking duo and also takes on the captaincy for the Springboks team. Rua Nokia remains as the number 5. He has been a phenomenal talent for the Springboks throughout the last 24 months. In the loose forward trio, Paul de Villiers comes in as the number 6. That is due to the Siya Kolisi injury that has left him out of the rolling for this contest. Cameron Hanekom comes in as the number 7 and Jasper Vesa slots in at 8. Grant Williams and Mani Libok will remain as the 9 and 10 combination. There are no other big surprises that we are seeing from the Boks in that back line. Kurtley Arendse out on the left wing. Damien Dialendi alongside Jesse Creel as the midfield with Cheslin Colby, who also more than likely will have goal-kicking responsibilities for this game. And then Damien Valimza, he is there as the number 15. Now just 1 minute remaining between Wales and Fiji. So the Fijians cannot go on to win that game now, ladies and gentlemen. But Wales can extend their lead. And theoretically, if the Welsh were to score again here, they would actually find themselves sitting top of the table in terms of the Nations Championship. Eben and Siya Kolisi out, both injured. Late injury changes too for the Springboks, so a little bit of a concern there for Rassi, losing 2 of his more experienced heads right before the start of the game. I will mention for the English, we see Marcus Smith coming in as the number 15, and that is actually due to the change of Furbank. He is no longer the starting 15, and off the bench they have now got Henry Slade as that number 23, but also in the starting lineup for the English, Ellis Park as the 1, Jamie George at 2, he is also the captain, and he did play way back in 2018 when these two sides most recently met on South African soil. Joe Hayes, he will be the tight head prop for the English. Yeah, I will mention Wales have just scored and converted, so they will close out that game up against the Fijians, 39 points to 24, so a solid victory for the Welsh in their away-from-home game that took place in Cardiff. Alex Coles and George Martin will be the locking duo, with Ollie Chisholm slotting in at 6, Tom Curry number 7, and then Bern Earl will be the number 8. Jack Van Portfield alongside Finn Smith as the 9 and 10 combination in this game. Caden Murley out on the left wing. Out on the right is Emmanuel Fiawa-Bosso, Tommy Freeman and Seb Atkinson in the middle, with Marcus Smith as the number 15. We have got there another Wales try. Flattering scoreline, says HDB. Is it too early for the English to start blaming the ref for this game, says Xander. I like to think we'll get through this game without either side blaming the referee. But I also do think as soon as we're a minute in, that opinion might change. It's going to be one full of tension, full of drama, full of excitement. And if it's anything like some of the other games we have already seen, it should be an absolutely incredible matchup between these two sides. Looking quickly at what is to come for these sides. For the South Africans, they have got their game up against Scotland just next week, starting at the same time as this one. I will mention we're only 27 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest too. And then they have got the game up against the Welsh the week after, and that will be their last preparation game before jumping into the warm-up for the South African versus New Zealand tour, where the greatest rivalry gets reignited for the first time in a while. For the Fijians, they will be going head-to-head with the English after just having their loss to the Welsh there. But the English, they have got Fiji and Argentina, 2 physical sides to face up against. And we've got to remember South Africa are also extremely physical. So they could be the walking wounded by the end of this month, England. But if they can get out of this with either 2 or 3 victories, I think they'd be more than happy with what they've been able to do. But in terms of also, while we are at it, I mentioned a while ago, South Africa versus England. These two sides have played quite a bit in recent history, but something that they haven't done is played each other in South Africa for a very long time. This was the last series, ladies and gentlemen, 2018. That third match on the 24th of June was actually the last time that whether it was a series or a singular match that England have played South Africa on South African soil. Since then, the sides have probably met about 5 or 6 times. But the very most recent was 2018. As you can see, South Africa winning that tour. Close game in the first match. Now, the likes of Asio Kolisi, also in terms of the other players in here, Thomas Detoy, he was playing back in one of those games. We saw, I think Malcolm Marx was in the equation off of the bench. You know, there's some history there between these two teams. And then also for the English, they had the likes of a Jamie George. Tom Curry was playing back in that tour as well. So a few of these veterans showing the longevity for these sides. We have got the 8 years. It's crazy. It actually is. Like when you consider international rugby and how much sides play nowadays, the fact that they haven't played each other for that long is thoroughly impressive. And I don't know why that is the case. I guess it would have been around the stage of the pandemic that we would have seen them go back. But we got to see some British and Irish Lions guys taking part. Is the stadium full, Hamish says Grant? Here in New Zealand, we haven't got a shot of the stadium as of yet. But I'm hoping we're going to get to see one very soon. In fact, we have to wait till 3:30 before we get to see the stadium here in New Zealand. So we've got 15 more minutes. But I know that there was a change of ticket prices in Johannesburg. Initially, they did set it very high, and then they dropped them just before the game was set to take place. We have you there. Welcome back, says Mohadeen. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well, and that was an awesome game to watch and listen to. And also, we over there. Here's the thing, guys. The Springboks are too humble being world champs. Says Xander, and Pollock is going to get a beating. Well, we won't get to see Henry Pollock in action until probably around the 60th minute of this contest. He'll get to make his way out onto the field when South Africa are a little bit more fatigued at altitude. So two things are going to happen. Either he's going to go out there and be unable to find his rhythm, or he's going to go out there and because he's so fresh is going to run rampant. Now, I know which one South Africans would prefer. It's definitely not the second one. Hi from South Africa, says Yandre. Welcome in. Hope you are doing fantastic. Shame about Furbank. Yeah, he's been in some good nick in recent times. So Marcus Smith slotting into 15, a late change in the back line for England might hurt them a little bit, but having someone like a Henry Slade to be able to then join up with the squad and be in that number 23 jersey in the lineup, that's certainly going to be relatively handy. So I really do not know why Celia and Eben are injured. Sounds unbelievable. Yeah, like I said, normally to see one player injured just before a kickoff is, that's a little bit of a surprise, but it happens, right? Losing two guys who are your two experienced heads just feels a little bit weird. So obviously, whatever they did yesterday in terms of training, maybe they went a little bit too hard. Maybe they were pushing the body to the absolute limit because they knew that this was a game that they wanted to be absolutely flying at the English. Perhaps their bodies just got pushed a little bit too hard. George Furbank, I don't know what happened to him, but he's also injured. So obviously, whatever was happening yesterday or the day before, these guys have been pushing to the absolute limit to try and get to the absolute peak of their performance, ready to play up against the other side. We have there Wales running away with it now. Yeah, they managed to get themselves the victory in the end, the Welsh, and got the bonus point too. They actually sit at the top of the Nations Championship now due to acute appendicitis. He was rushed to hospital. That's quite serious, actually. So hopefully he's going to be all right, George Furbank. We have there, maybe Rassi knows something we don't, says Marius there. And South Africa by 15, says Mr. D. Wait, maybe Rassi knows something we don't. Are you saying that you're not saying what I think you're saying, are you? You're not saying that this was like premeditated and Rassi had a plan all along to take those guys out? Surely not. Surely not. Right? They did announce on Monday, but there's a lot of training sessions since Monday. So that's probably, it's understandable that you'd leave it as late as possible to work that out. Hamish box by 25, says Tamunda there. And apparently Sia got injured in the captain's run. Eben did train some days this week, says Liza. And score prediction this game, guys. See, I've gone Springboks by 12. I'm not confident because I do think that this game, if it's anything like the other nations' championship matches, could be quite back and forth. Why would I ever say that? Or ever want to say that? Rasi is so predictive. Says Marius. And also easy box win, says Hey No. Have you seen Conspiracy Theory, Hamish? Open your eyes. Says Cool Story. And the Rhinos by 4, says Aussie guy there. But looking through at the English Six Nations campaign, because that is the most recent time that we've seen England in action. They were able to beat the Welsh in the opening contest of the Six Nations 48 points to 7. They then lost to Scotland 31-20, losing to the Irish 42-21, losing to the Italians 23-18, and losing to the French 48-46. Now that game was one of the best Six Nations fixtures I think I've ever seen. Because I love seeing tries. I know that most people would go, defense, you got to make the tackles and whatnot. But that was just absolutely incredible. The way both sides kept on firing back with entertainment time and time again. But it was quite a weird one for the English because they went from this game up against Wales was a part of their massive winning streak. Now they're on a 4-match losing streak. Heading into Johannesburg, it's pretty much the worst location that you could ask for to have to try and get back on a winning track when you're at altitude, up against the world champions. So if they get the job done, they'd certainly be deserving of starting that new streak. For the South Africans, they had their game up against the Barbarians where they just scored tries for fun all throughout that matchup. Last year's rugby championship, though, they were at the top of the bunch. As you can see, same points as New Zealand, same wins, same losses. But the big factor and the big stat that stands out is that points differential, plus 57. They dominated New Zealand in the second match up against them, and that definitely added a lot to the boosting in terms of that differential. They had some solid performances up against the Argentines. But yeah, winning the rugby championship up against England, who finished 5th in the Six Nations. They were one of the teams that were actually picked to be able to win it. We have got that England are not full strength. Box should win, says Geopol. Would you say that this Box side's not full strength, though? Because I know that Rasi has a player pool of about 70 or 80 at the moment. So are all of those guys all considered as just the first team? You know, you look through at this lineup, the back line is absolutely world class. The forward pack's a little bit reshuffled because of those late injuries that we have seen. But I'd still say this is a very strong starting lineup and reserves for both of these teams. I'm talked about normally for international rugby, building depth, finding the combinations that work. And both of these coaches are looking towards that World Cup as a real target. And what is weird is the fact that Sia and Eben both injured their groin areas. Sia Xander, groin areas. Is it quite cold in South Africa at the moment? I normally get a little bit of a dodgy groin in the cold. I had to Google Paul de Villiers. What did you learn, Power AI? Because if you found the stats that you see from the URC most recent season, you probably look at it and go, okay, I can understand fully why that man is a Springbok. He had many turnovers throughout the URC season. He was one of the standouts for the Stormers in terms of the forwards. He gets around the park. He looks for turnovers every breakdown that he's close to. He's actually an absolute menace. And he can give away the occasional penalty, but that is always going to happen when you fully commit to everything that's happening. Joburg is also a very claustrophobic stadium, plonked in the middle of the concrete jungle. South Africa do well here. An afternoon all, says Inquisitor, and good day from Mauritius. And thanks, Hamish, Bok to win. Rasi faked the squad and switched it last minute. Teams already know his fake mind game, says Klaus. And also we have got been with you since 8 a.m. New Zealand game. So cheers, my first lager of the day. And I'm still traumatized by traveling through Joburg. Says Cool Story. Will this game go down to Golden Point? No. It would just be a draw if these two sides were level at the end of the 80 minutes. Which, I mean, we've all but had a draw multiple times throughout this weekend with how close some of these games have been. So I would not be one bit surprised if we do see a close old fixture between these sides again. We have got there, do you think when Rasi leaves the Springboks, they will still do well? I think that he's doing a lot of work now to prepare for when he leaves. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of preparation going towards that next Rugby World Cup as well. But I do also think that Rasi, the way that I look at it is he's building up the depth so that whoever takes over has a massive player pool to be able to choose from. Has guys who have had a little bit of experience in the environment And hopefully whoever does take over from Rassie does actually go with that same mindset of having Springbok camps, having a bigger, wider training squad to give more guys opportunity because, it's obviously working. Springboks have had a brilliant record throughout the last little while. Did Evan Etzebeth and Sia Khaleesi is banged for Henry Pollock. Well, they'll be a little bit disappointed because now they don't get to go head-to-head with them. I'm been with you since 3 a.m., mate, on my third Cuban Espresso. Sears Claws. Yeah, we are now at the fourth live stream of the day. We've got this game between South Africa and England, and then from there we're jumping into Scotland, Argentina to close out the day of commentary. Rassie preparing the land for the legacy, while after the braai, Jan Hendrik Wessels. Change my mind, South Africa win by 20 plus. We have got there, set on TV, Eben Headnock on Wednesday. See a hamstring and captain's run. See, Eben Headnock is such a concern because that man recently admitted himself that one more big head knock and he's out. Like, that's the end of his career. So to have a head knock in training, like, that man might be almost done from international rugby and from rugby in general if he takes any more substantial knocks to the head. The Springbok last two World Cup generation, the All Blacks 2011-2015 generation would be insane. And also what was the score with Fiji? So in the end, the Fijians did end up losing 39-24. But that scoreline definitely flattered Wales because up until the final few moments, they were pretty much neck and neck, only separated by 1 point. Rassia's Rugby's Mugabe, he's going to be there till he's like 90 years old, or 99 years old. Eben Etzebeth and Sia Khaleesi. Says Martin there. I think Eben will have to retire now, unfortunately, says Xander. Yeah, he's going to have a very hard look at what the risk to reward factor is because everyone knows that he wants to be at that next Rugby World Cup. But at the same time, if it comes at his own health expense, that's when you have to decide whether or not you want to be there maybe as a coach rather than being in the actual team. According to Skulk Brits, Henry Pollock is going to learn some manners today. Can't wait. Says Stan Bolson. Yeah, Henry Pollock has got under a lot of people's skins. You look at all of the ex-rugby players and all of the current players, even the fans online, they all say Henry Pollock's going to be the man who gets humbled in Joburg. Now, the sad reality is, if for anything like that to happen, everyone's going to have to wait a good old probably 60 minutes or so, if not longer, because, he's off the bench. So unless there's some sort of early injury, we're not going to see him for a long time. So yeah, grade 1 tier. And also Eben, where'd that go? Problems with concussion protocol. Yeah, so I think he's close to done, Etzebeth. The thing is, I wouldn't want him to take one big substantial knock that actually messes him up for life. Pollock is the Eben of England. And Hamish, can we get a score prediction? 12-point margin. But total points regardless, says JJH. I'll go 34-22. Somewhere around there. I'll go with. The All Blacks ate different meals at the hotel, but all drank tea from the same urn. And we have got there as well, who's this person who keeps spamming. So it is pretty much a bot account. So what they do is anytime it's like a bigger match, they'll randomly spam channels just for the sake of trying to get people to, I guess, type in what their name is because then they can give people viruses. But we normally take them out pretty quickly. That sounds like we assassinate them. We don't. Not that we tell you anyway. Henry Pollock is Scott Berger, says Ruth. Hamish, I'm calling it 43-17 to the box, and Joburg is drab, brown, and flat. But at least it's dangerous and freezing. Says cool story. Yeah, someone was telling me earlier on about how it's quite cold at the moment. We have there the allure of your channel fades as the comments and subscribers grow, changing the direction somewhat. Says Anthony. I guess the thing is as well, you guys who have been around for a long time surely get sick of me eventually, right? At the end of the day, we've probably done 2,000 live streams on the channel. So a lot of what I say now is not new. So I think it also comes down to that a little bit. We have there Harry Bollock to be folded like a deck chair. says Dillig African. And we have got there, how many tries will England get, says T33. I think they'll get a few. This game's going to be, for me, relatively wide open because you look at the combinations in terms of the backline for the South Africans, Grant Williams alongside Marnie Libot. They'll be going attacking minded, but that can also leave a counter-attack opportunity. And the Boks by 14, and Pollock is going to get 30 Bok boots shoved up his butt. And also the English must feel at home with the cold temperature, seeing as they've been having some Africa weather. Yeah, well, I've been having huge heat waves up north, haven't they? We have to get there, not at all. We know you watch all the games, so your opinion actually holds value. Where'd that go? A majority of pundits hardly watch 2 games a week. See, my biggest problem now is my memory's starting to get that bad that I forget what happens last week. I think I've actually butchered my brain to the point where if you ask me about games that took place longer than maybe 2 or so weeks ago, I can't remember 90% of them. And I hope Libok is not kicking today, says Joe Man. I think they're going, by the looks of it, Colby as the goal kicker. And 37.5 in terms of the degrees for next week. For the English throughout the week. Looking at what is to come for the South Africans, they have got some big matches just around the corner, including the greatest rivalry tour. Now, of course, the All Blacks, they have a few more games beforehand. They will be taking on the Stormers, the Sharks, the Lions, as well as the Bulls in terms of their South African fixtures. But the 4-test series, 50 days away, ladies and gentlemen, from that one starting up. We are 7 weeks from those matches. And then, of course, the next week, the week after, for the greatest rivalry overall tour. Then they do also play the Australians. That is after the rivalry tour. They play Argentina beforehand, but it isn't actually a rugby championship. It's a little bit more of a modified, just a friendly pretty much in between. And then they also have the Italians, the French, and the Irish. So the teams that New Zealand, Australia, and Japan are playing, they are going to be playing throughout November for the rest of the Nations Championship. There is also going to be the Nations Championship playoff games. It cannot be South versus South. It will have to be North versus South for the final. So New Zealand, Australia, all fighting for a spot up against the Boks, Argentina, and everyone else. Let's see, we go like that. We go like that. James Dolman, the ref. I'm changing the Boks by 6. Says Hano. The ref is a dodgy fella, says Joe Man. Also up the Waz. Pollock is a TikTok dancer who plays a bit of rugby. Says Rab. Yeah, although I do still think as well, and I know that this might be a little bit controversial, but he's a good player, Henry Pollock. And I don't get me wrong. Does the man have a bit of an ego? Absolutely. Does he rub people the wrong way? 100%. But anyone who's watched him for the Northampton Saints knows what type of player he can be. And, the kid's got confidence. But that can also make people very annoyed. Pollock is growing on me because of how much he's getting under people's skin, says Zach Cray. Yeah, see, there used to be old school players. It wasn't through the TikTok side of things and whatnot, but there used to be players who really annoyed every other country's fan bases. But I think because of social media the way that it is now, that's why we hear so much about the Pollock situation. And whether it's cold but no rain, Boks by 20. The ref won't be able to save England today, says Rugby Ready. And people used to hate David Pollock. As an Irish fan, be shouting for England, says Shane Irish. And Jan Hendrik Vessel's practicing his grabbing skills, so no camera will ever pick up what he can do. And Fuff says home business. Did anyone watch that Barbarians game up against the Welsh last week? Fuff the clerk playing for the Barbarians. He got lifted in the line-out. Now, I don't know whether or not Rassi is also looking to use him as a line-out jumper in the future, but it's certainly something unique that you do only really get when you see the Barbars in action. Annoying players equals Nas Bota. Even if he was one of the greats, says Marius. It reminds me of Richie McCaw, says Zach Cray. And also, Pollock is actually most people in South Africa's favourite player. They are all getting his haircut, says Cool Story. But these two sides are about to get underway. We're only 7 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest here, ladies and gentlemen. Johannesburg Stadium looking full here at Ellis Park. But the late changes. No Eben Etzebeth. No Siakolisi. Box for the win. Who the F is Pollock? He is the man making his way off the bench in the number 21 jersey who has rubbed the whole world the wrong way throughout the last 24 months. He has been the one that I mentioned in my preview. If you look through at this English lineup, Pollock has been mentioned more than the other 22 players throughout this week. Pollock is overhyped like Sasha. Says Sock there. I like how South Africans get agitated with Pollock. Gives us something to laugh about, says George. The English, a slow, methodical walk out onto the field. Japan, Italy, Ireland, Oz, and the ABs. Proper rugby today. This game will put some perspective on today's game. Says Anthony. Yeah, we've had some great rugby, haven't we? Like compared to a couple weeks ago when we were dealing with the one-sided finals and the one-sided warm-up games too. Pollock with a big smile on his face as he makes his way out onto the field. But of course, someone else who rubs people the wrong way. Maro Itoje not playing for this one. Did you see the kickoff lift for the under-20 box, which resulted in a try? It's one for the books, says Stan. I actually haven't yet. I'll have to watch one of those games. Was it up against Georgia or was it up against the Uruguayans? We have got there, what's good free streaming site. Sadly, there aren't too many free options, although apparently for certain countries, it is available on YouTube, on the World Rugby YouTube channel. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But now the box. They have, of course, got the Warriors making their way out onto the field first for the first game of 2026. In terms of international fixtures, of course, they had their game up against the Barbarians. But this one, there's going to be some massive moments, some big hits, some brilliant rugby being played. I do want to know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Who's going to win it? How much are they winning it by? Oh, interesting. Okay, one of the South African Warriors was just screaming in one of the English players' faces. They were probably a metre from each other. I assume he's allowed to do that. I know that they normally have some sort of rules around it, but he is fired up. We have got now the South Africans making their way out. Ebenezer, Sia Kolisi, both missing from this lineup, but milestone games for Damian Valimza and Cheslin Colby, both bringing up their 50th cap in this game up against England. The last time that these two sides played up against England in South Africa, it was back in 2018. The English won that game 25-10, but before that, they had lost the series in the 2 games prior. 250-0 for the South Africans. And the South Africa, we are allowed to shout at foreigners, says Marius. Peter Steph-Toy, captain Peter Steph-Toy as well. Due to those changes, we see now Peter Steph with the captain's armband and a change of position. That's the thing, he would have been prepared to play in terms of the loose forward trio from the number 7 jersey, just like he did last week. But now responsibilities. He's partnered with Ruan Nokia, a man who has been phenomenal throughout recent times for the Springboks. Right, Hamish's rugby analysis unmatched, says Aussie guy YT. And we have the Pollock 50, South Africa 1, and the Boks 62 to the 12. I realise them only getting their 50 caps now makes sense because of Billy LaRue, says HDB. These two sides ready for what will be quite the battle out there for the 80 minutes. Why we're seeing Eben pulled. So Sia Kolisi, it was groin injury, someone said. And then also on the other side of things, Eben with a bit of a head knock midweek that left him out for this matchup. So he has already dealt with a lot of concussions, Eben Etzebeth. And I hope that that's not going to be the last time that we get to see him named in a Springbok lineup. But at the same time, he has to be careful to not take another big shot. But they are just singing God Save the King, the English national anthem. And the MP Warriors is always slipping and falling around, says Cool Story. And also I've got a feeling this is not going to be a 1-point game, says Reno. And in the FIFA World Cup, you're not allowed to shout or whisper at the other team. Communication has to be clear. Dude got red carded for covering his mouth to trash talk another player. Did he actually? Wait, but would he have got a red card if he had openly, talk trash to him without covering his mouth? Let's go to the box, says Haino there. And hopefully it's going to be a close one. Well, we've already seen New Zealand, France was close. We saw Ireland versus Australia was close. Wales versus Fiji was close up until the final kind of 10, 15 minutes. The only game that's been completely one-sided for most of it was actually Japan versus Italy. And it wasn't one-sided to the side that people expected to win that game. Probably not, because no one would have noticed, says Big Rig. Now the South African national anthem, looking through at the starting lineups again. Oxenshire, Malcolm Marx and Thomas du Toit make up the front row. Du Toit was playing back in 2018, the last time the English were on South African soil. Same with the captain, Peter Steff, from that number 4 jersey as the late inclusion or the late little reshuffle due to Etzebeth being out. Rua Nokia again will find himself in the number 5 jersey for the Springboks. So Paul de Villiers gets the start at 6 alongside Cameron Honeycomb and Jasper Vesa as the loose forward trio. Grant Williams and Mani Libok as the 9 and 10. Kurtley Arnse, Damien Dialendi, Jesse Krill, Cheslin Colby, and also Damien Valimza. I think I said Damien Valimza as the 12. Damien Dialendi in the midfield, Damien Valimza at the back. That is the Springboks. Starting lineup for the English, it is Ellis Gens, Jamie George and Joe Hayes. Alex Coles alongside George Martin in the locking duo with Ollie Chisholm alongside Tom Curry. And also Ben Earl, Jack Van Porfleer and Finn Smith will be the 19 combination. Caden Murley out on the on the left. Out on the right, Emmanuel Fiwa Bosso. The midfield of Seb Atkinson and Tommy Freeman at number 13. And then Marcus Smith at 15 due to the late change of no George Furbank for this game. And game 4 for you today, Blast, says David. Yeah, this is the 4th of 5 that we have got coming up on the channel. The next game will be starting in 2.5 hours' time. And that will be the contest between Argentina and Scotland. Jasper Headbutt Vesa wants more victims today. How's the stadium look? It looks like an atmosphere out there at Ellis Park. They've lit off some fireworks as the South African national anthem finishes up. But it's now business time for these two sides. It's been talked about, the rivalry, the passion, the aggression that these two sides show towards each other. And now, just before the kickoff, the nerves will be setting in for some of these young guys, likes of a Cameron Honeycomb, a Paul de Villiers. This is your moment to really make your mark up against an English loose forward trio who would love nothing more than to pull off back-to-back victories in South Africa. We have got there, they filled the stadium, good to see. Well, they changed the prices, didn't they? They went way too high with the starting price to go, guys, make it a memorable game, says Thinness there. And also this game feels more intense than Ireland, Australia, or France, New Zealand. And that is because of what has been made of the build-up between these two sides. There's a real big main event feel when these two sides face off. When they play in England, they normally are relatively close. The most recent game was in November last year. Springboks winning at 29-20. There's been occasions before that where if these sides have won, they have won by only the 1-point margin. And what games next week, says Mohadim. We'll worry about next week a little bit later on, but for now we're about 20 seconds away from the start of this side. The start of this matchup, changes in the starting lineup due to the issues when it came to injury of Kolisi as well as Eben Etzebeth, but a debut for Paul de Villiers in the same game where we see milestones for Cheslin Colby and Damien Valimza. He's always in the breakdowns, Paul de Villiers. He's aggressive in the way that he plays, and he will be looking for every opportunity to try and expose the English in those breakdowns. And we have got there, let's go the Bok. From Jeffreys Bay, South Africa, says Pitbull proud. And we have got there, Hamish, the best commentator for rugby, says Brett. And there too, but we have got plenty more coming throughout July, throughout the greatest rivalry tour. We are going to be here on the channel too, so if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button, but it is almost go time. The referee in charge of this game will be James Dolman. TMO Richard Kelly, Ollie Hodges, the foul play match official. We're playing a little bit of the final countdown as well. The final countdown's about to be about 5 seconds before we get underway for this matchup. Anyone else watching it on YouTube as well? Yeah, they have actually got it on the World Rugby YouTube channel. Some locations around the world, which is fantastic to see. We are great test for the young guys, says Jan there. But a 3, 2, 1, and we are underway now for the Nations Championship fixture. South Africa versus England with Mani Libok kicking off from left to right. And kicks it off to the 22, taken by Ben Irwin. A big chopping tackle early from Kurtli Arendse. There'll be no lack of physicality between these two sides. The rivalry has run deep for a while. And these two sides, there is that mutual respect amongst the players, but there is certainly going to be that will to win and try and take the other down. Nice take from Damian Valimza off the kick of England. So now possession here for the Boks, sitting 40 metres out from the English line. Malcolm Marks hits the ball up. Williams cross to Ruan Nokia. He kept his spot in the locking duo. The only change that they had was Eben Etzebeth in that department. Mani Libok kicking this ball up high. Doesn't get a massive amount of distance on it. Knock on from Marcus Smith. And we will already get to see the first scrum of the day. No, we don't, as the penalty is won by Paul de Villiers in the breakdown alongside Damien Dialendi. Not releasing penalty goes against England. Marcus Smith had initially knocked the ball on. Guy the box here, Sweet Pete. They're showing Dialendi, man who is still at this stage of his career extremely underrated for what he's able to do. Mani Libok, he will kick this one into touch as South Africa look to be aggressive rather than taking the early 3 points. In this competition, you get a bonus point for 4 or more tries. And it can be for the losing side also. You also get a bonus point for being within 7. Penalties this early is not a good sign. Now going to the back, tackle in the air on Cheslin Colby. I have no idea how that can't be a penalty advantage, but now moving out wide. Damian Valimza, 1 metre short of the try line. Is it going to be like every other Nations Championship game with someone scoring in the first 3 minutes? Peter Steph-Toy just settling this one down at the back of the breakdown. But South Africa looking to strike early in front of their home crowd. Now back across to the right-hand side there over the line. And who is it who scores the try for the South Africans? It is none other than Thomas du Toit, a man who did play back in 2018 up against this English side. But du Toit to score first definitely wasn't on a lot of people's bingo boards. But in 2.5 minutes, again, every other game of the Nations Championship, with maybe the exception of Japan versus Italy, New Zealand versus France. France scored in the 2nd minute. Fiji versus Wales. Fiji scored in the 3rd minute. Australia versus Ireland. Australia scored in the very early stages of that game in the 3rd minute also. It just seems to be the trend of this comp is you have to concede within a very short amount of time. But Cheslin Colby lining up this kick now. Hopefully he will also be avoiding any sort of cameraman situation. He has missed that one away to the right-hand side, so that will keep the score sitting 5 points to 0 in favour of South Africa. Just going to have a quick look. Japan versus Italy. They had a try in the 5th minute. They were a bit slow. But the fact that every single game has had a try within 5 minutes of it starting is, I guess, I don't know. That seems like a rarity. Nice take there from Damian Valimza under the high ball again. Been looking solid in the early stages of this game. Big 2-man tackle on Peter Steph-Toy by Ollie Chisholm, as well as Joe Hayes. Pollock won't even come onto the field. He's too scared. Well, they do normally use him as an impact player, the English. Northampton start him, and he normally plays the 80 for them, but Borthwick likes him more of an impact sub later on in the match. Grant Williams kicking this one up high again from just on the 22. Good chase in from Cheslin Colby. This time knocking it on. Nice take from Marcus Smith. Gets through the tackle attempt of better Steph-Toy, but dragged down on the halfway line by Grant Williams. Now Chisholm. Ball is still on the side of England. They have to be careful in these breakdowns because South Africa are relentless. What's this Tier 2 comp? It's called the Nations Cup for Tier 2, whereas it's Nations Championship for Tier 1. Nice take from Damian Valimza. 3rd time under a high ball that he has done well and managed to gather the ball. Jasper Wiese on the halfway line. Hanging on to his ankles was Tom Curry. Now Williams goes away left-hand side. Few numbers here for the Springboks. Arendse right next to the sideline. Now Jesse Creel cutting back inwards. Good afternoon, Name. Says Philip, welcome in. If you are doing well, Oxton Share. Now breaks through the line, the big Ox. He's got Ruan Nokia with him, but he wanted to go himself, Ox. He knows how close he's been to Rugby Player of the Year multiple times. He thought maybe adding a few more tries might help his case. Now passing out wide. Damien Dialendi out to Chislin Colby, stepping around the defence of the English. And South Africa strike twice in the first 5 minutes. And nice to see you again, Amy. Go to the box. Says Vanita Swart there. It is great to have you here. There you go, the Thomas the Tank, unstoppable from a few metres away, says Harness, but Chislin Colby also with an unstoppable step. That would have given flashbacks to 2019, if you know, you know. But just stepping down the wing and finding his way through Chislin Colby to finish that one off. Oxenshire, he was never given that ball to Ruan Nokia, I can tell you that right now. That man saw the try line and wanted to go for it himself. We have there Philip Bailey, thank you very much for your generosity there. Oxen School says... cool story. Were there some late injuries in the box 15? There were. So Eben Smith and Sia Kolisi were both ruled out late. We also did see a late change for England as well. They ended up losing George Furbank from the 15 jersey. That is for Marcus Smith into the starting side. And then Henry Slade was added on to the bench. But a nice kick this time from Chislin Colby does get this one over. And that now makes the score 12-0 to South Africa after the first 6.5 minutes. I hope they pace their game. Remember the Aussie game last year? I didn't want to mention about it because, yes, that did happen. And they have to be very careful to not let it happen again. Although I think that felt like a one-off rarity. One of my favourite parts of rugby season is Hamish. Hello, lads. Says Oliver. Welcome in. At least South Africa, they are leading 12 points to 0 after the first 7 minutes of this contest. They have got the possession inside of the 22. England caught out early here. Or rather, South Africa didn't give a false hope. Waiting for this one. Emmanuel Fiawa Boso can't win the ball. Instead, Paul de Villiers ends up getting the rebound. Oxenshire again. Short side, Grant Williams off to better Steph the Toy. I mean, I appreciate the commentary, says Tommy T. No worries at all. I said this would be close, says Paul Hustlers. It's not over yet, is all I will say. We've seen games where it looks like one side's fully in control, then the second half happens. Completely change, but currently this is very strong from the Springboks and about the best possible start they could have had. Manuel Fiawa-Boso, again, not able to take it cleanly, but Marcus Smith gets the ball now. It's on the side of the English, just straight in through the side for Thomas Tatoy. Oh no, it was Malcolm Marks, in fact. Now, bit of a loose ball, picked up by Finn Smith inside of his own 22. The moment he's having to try and dodge his own teammates as well as the South African defenders. Going to be a tough game for England with the early lead. Who else wants to see a replay of Ox's break, then charge up the field? I think that someone who will want to see that replay, or maybe he wouldn't want to see it, is Ruan Nokia, because he looked like he was wide open for the pass. But it led to the try anyway, so that's the main thing. But yeah, Ox was just looking straight towards the try line. No idea of passing that one. Now, kick towards the touchline for Jack Van Porfliet. Another line out here for the South Africans. 8 minutes through this matchup already. I bet England come out like animals second half. You watch this, Stephen. I'm glad you're not in your tie, Amish. Get the hoodie on. It's part of past midnight for you. Yeah, well, it's almost morning here in New Zealand. We're sitting 3:52 a.m. But still plenty more rugby action to be had. There is South Africa, or sorry, not South Africa, Scotland versus Argentina a little bit later on tonight. Line out here for Malcolm Marks. Oh, Oxenshire, injury here. He is down currently. It's no surprise with how quick that man was moving on his legs in that last break. Go the Bok, no mercy. Says, was there from Malam Lele? And also, we have there Hamish, my stepmummy comes from England. Right, okay. And England are going to a hiding, says Sean. But currently 9 minutes in. What has been a crazy start in terms of tempo. South Africa have looked determined right from the first whistle of this game. They have come out with a bit of a vengeance, but this could be a concern for Oxenshire. It was actually, they're just showing the carry here. Just as he started accelerating off the mark for Ox. Oh, that would have been it actually. Just the way that he got bent in the breakdown. I think might have hurt. Hello, bro, says Nelson. Welcome in. Oh, it was quick. He sprained his own ankles. Yeah, I hate when that happens. You know when you haven't run for a while and then you try and sprint and then your whole ankle just feels like it falls off? Maybe that's just because I'm unfit, but he looks like he's going to continue here, Oxenshire. Or at least he wants to. A true warrior, Hamish, are you coming for the AB store to the Republic in August? No, but we will be covering it on the channel. Steve Borthwick should be gone after the worst Six Nations. Yeah, England were on a 4-match losing streak in that Six Nations competition after being on a massive winning streak heading into it. Williams goes off to Krill, now Dealending in behind Mani Libok with the man on his shoulder. Valimza delays the pass, instead goes for the grabber behind him. Anyway, Fiwa does well to clean it up. A lot of determination and defence from the box to be able to wrestle him down. Paul de Villiers just loses the footing. Oh, Dolman was all but given a penalty against him there. Hello, Hamish says, Babe response, welcome in. Currently 9.5 into this contest. Jack Van Porthleet again will just have to look to clear his lines from inside of the English 22. Doesn't look like he's going for touch here though. Bit too much depth on the kick. Nicely taken by Damien Valimza for his 50th match. He's had a brilliant start to it as well. In fact, both half centurions have done nicely. Him and Cheslin Colby. Dealendi straightens with his run. England wanting the steal, told to get out of it. Williams back across to the right-hand side, off to Thomas Detoy. Oh, they're going box kick again here. Grant Williams calling for reinforcements to be able to send this one up. Missed your score prediction. My score prediction was 12 points in favour of the South Africans. But we've still got a long way to go for that to be a reality. Nicely taken Colby, calling towards the touchline, asking for the penalty. Yes, Professor, though, he'll win one anyway. And the penalty goes the way of the box. Amazing how putting on a box jersey makes a difference to their players. Take it to another level completely compared to their club teams. And this game is camped in England's half. Haven't been in South Africa's half yet. But now what do, South Africa? I think they'll go aggressive again. They might as well. They're 11 minutes into this contest. They are absolutely all over England. You keep on striking while the iron is hot. You try and put them under even more pressure. And maybe you even get them a yellow card in the process. A nice kick towards the touchline for Mani Libok. About 7 metres out from the line now. Yeah, Colby was asking for the penalty, but it was actually the man who was competing with him who went up and won that ball. Just joined how much left of the game. Still another 70 minutes remaining in this contest, so a long time with the tempo that they're playing at. Malcolm Marks throws it in, but it's stolen by England, although they get penalised, a free kick for throwing the man across the line out. Quick tap taken by Grant Williams off to Jasper Visser, who throws himself at the line. 3 metres out from the try line now for the Springboks. Now Hanekom playing in the number 7 jersey, advantage offside against England too. Grant Williams moves it on to Mani Libok. Beautiful pass to Valimza, out to Kirtley Arinside. He finishes it off in the corner. Smith tried to drive him over the sideline, but he couldn't stop him. And South Africa have their third. Good to see you again. Always love listening to your commentary, says Kim. And Mani just skipped 3 players there. That was a beautiful skip pass from Mani Libok. Otherwise, everyone was spelling Hamish. About 50 people spelled Hamish. That sounds like a sandwich. And we have got there, who's going for the bowls for the box. It is Cheslin Colby, who is in charge of the kicking tee. But again, in the corner, Mani Libok happy with that one. Let's get Hamish to Craven Week, says Pitbull. You're about 90 seconds behind YouTube game and commentary. I'll try not to give spoilers, I assume that is from I Am Nutty. But now Cheslin Colby, he's sitting 1 from 2 off of the kicking tee, but 17-0. The way that this one currently does sit. Colby starts it out right, doesn't quite bring it around enough. So it does keep the score as 17 points to 0 with Sasha Hamish injured at the moment. They're hoping that he'll be back for the rivalry tour, but it might still be a little bit 50-50. But clinical is the word that just comes to mind. England, they've got to find a way of changing this game a little bit. Kicked off, nicely taken by better Steph Detoy. A majority of possession also at this stage in favour of the South Africans. Hi, Hamish says, Megan, welcome in. It is great to see you. A little long time no see. Hope you are keeping well. This one's kicked high from Grant Williams. We have got there very polished, says Jacques. Not many mistakes made at all from the South Africans at this point of time, but now England looking to run it forward with Finn Smith. Couple missed tackles in a row. Jack Van Porflia off to Ben Earl. Quick off the mark. Honeycomb looking for every chance to steal it in the breakdown. Passed out wide. Close to the sideline. England keeping this one alive. And I am from GQ, says Sean. Welcome in. Now looking for the steal. Just lost the footing at the last moment. For Thomas du Toit. Change of direction from Ellis Genge. This is the furthest up the field that we have seen the English be. Van Porflia trying the sniping run. Couldn't get through. And go the box, says Sandy there, and let Marnie kick, says Vanita. Now Finn Smith, cross to Ben Earl again, hello England, says Rhino, game over already, can't see England coming back for this. Now Seb Atkinson, solid enough, Six Nations, Jack Van Porflia, nice offload to Finn Smith. Huge collision with Paul de Villiers, pick and go from Curry, runs into the referee. Now it's going to be George Martin. 10 metres out from the line now for England. And again, their best position on the field, Joe Hayes. They're throwing everything they can at South Africa. Marcus Smith with the step, and he's just short of the try line. Desperation defence from the green and gold. Jack Van Porflia, 3 men on his left. He goes to George Martin, just flops down, doesn't quite get as far forward as they would have liked. They can't afford a handling error here. Advantage for the offside against South Africa, and the penalty awarded to England after 15 phases. And how's it, Hamish Craig from St Francis Bay? Eastern Cape, South Africa is back, says Craig. England flag at half mast. And we have got there, never thought I'd hear someone say let Marnie kick, says Marius. And it's going to be offside against South Africa, one of their first penalties that they have given away in this matchup, 17-0. You read that correctly. Yes, 15 minutes into this game. And South Africa have already got themselves 3 tries. Now, this competition, you need to get yourself 4 tries and you get a bonus point. South Africa are chasing that and a few extra bits as well, just for good measure. And whereas Sasha, he's injured at the moment, so unavailable to play in this series. But England with the pick and go. Close to the try line, very close in fact. For the English, they will be about half a metre from the line. But it is still on their side. It's great defence from the Springboks again, but they have to stay behind the hindmost foot. Ben Earl, couple metres out. Jack Van Porflia pops it up to Ellis Genge. He straightens with his run. They have to be very careful not to be held up here to England. Now Van Porflia looking away to the right-hand side. Martin gets close but held by Damien Dialendi. Then the ball come out the back again. Only just short. Another tackle by Thomas du Toit. Now big bump off there. Close to the line for Joe Hayes. Question is, how long can the South African defence withstand this English attacking onslaught? Ball is still just short. Rolling it back through again. Jack Van Porflia. That was a knock on from England, I believe, but it is awarded as a try. It was interesting. It went back to Jack Van Porflia, who then put it back into the breakdown, and then Jamie George scored it. I'd love to see that one again, but I'm not sure how legal it was. But if it was legal, they just got themselves the try. It would be Jamie George and Eben are both injured. That is correct, yeah. Yeah, that seemed like Jack Van Porflia was about to play at the ball, so it's whether or not he touched it as the halfback. It seems like it's all going to be cleared. Or is it? James Dolman just having a bit of a check here. We have there, he didn't score, says Haino. And that makes it a bit more interesting, although they've said to hold the shot clock. The shot clock is still ticking down, and now they are going to have a check at this. I actually think that this might be no try. The first initial reaction I felt was it went to Jack Van Porflia, who then put it back into the breakdown. So they're just making sure that he is entitled to play the ball from where he was. See if he is bound to the ruck or not. You see, Van Porflia had his hands on the ball, then lets it back to Jamie George. Okay, so they're saying 9 puts his hands on the ball as well. No try, penalty there in favour of South Africa, just out from the line. That's awful refereeing. That's a try. It's actually not, though. It's offside from Jamie George. So the gist of that is because Jack Van Poortvliet had his hands on the ball as the halfback, that then makes everyone in front of him offside, including Jamie George, who was still bound to the breakdown. So pretty much what happens when Van Poortvliet gets that ball, Jamie George becomes offside. So then he's in front of the man with the ball, and because of Jack Van Poortvliet then pulling his hands away, doesn't then mean that Jamie George can play that ball. George seems a little bit confused by that rule, but it is the correct call at the end of the day. SABC showing Bafana, but not the Springbok sad, says Michael Cork. How's Hamish? Missed the first part, but awesome to see the score. And smash the English, says Jason. And it's about time the Nines stopped from playing the ball multiple times at the back of the scrum. Marnie Libok, after the penalty was awarded to South Africa. Good goal there, Hamish. Well done, says Jan. Yeah, just something about the way that it was scored looked a little bit off to me. That's harsh. I've seen Peter Steptoe score many tries like that, says LB. And Goody, no try. I give the English something. And also, woohoo, shame, no try, says Ruth there as well. So Africa will used to have to use we'll have to get a proper kicker. Kicks will win or lose us the games, ask the Aussies. Thrown in nicely, taken by Roan Nokia. Paul de Villiers in his starting and also just international debut. Told to use the ball, Grant Williams from 40 metres out from his own line. Cheslin Colby steamrolling after this one, putting the aerial challenge up beautifully, taken by Peter Steptoe. Went to Marks, who does knock it on. Back onto the side of England again. It's the second decision today that the refs are eventually enforcing. And I don't fully understand that one, but okay, I'll take it. And why did it need the TMO? Effed up ref, says Johan. Well, surely you're still happy that the right decision was made, Johan, right? Now, kick back to the halfway line. Balimza again, taking that ball beautifully under the high one. Now, Jesper Visser. Grant Williams, way to the left, Marnie Libok. Another up and under for Jesse Creel to try and run onto. Marcus Smith short side, not a lot of space to work with. Does get it into touch. And South Africa must slow down. The altitude will affect the box performance in the final moments. We box must keep clinical, says Herman. And also come on, South Africa, let's do this, says Hori. And also greetings, Hamish from South Africa, says good, welcome in. I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 82,000. We're getting very close, only about 300 away. You will be notified of all the random stuff that's coming out. It was the right decision, but that law is almost never called. Very harsh, says LB. And please just pass the ball to Cheslin. Okay, box, thanks, says Runaway Brides. Once taken nicely by Roan Nokia at line-out time again. De Villiers, big smashing shot on him by Jamie George, who will be fired up after what recently happened. We have there 81.6 subscribers are still keeping a chat. That's a challenge, says Anthony Alfonso. Now Garno drop ball for Gerald Stennekamp, who has made his way onto the field due to the Oxnard earlier injury that we did see. And good commentary, Hamish. You can be a very good Springbok fan, says Demunda. And also Eamon is not there. I know you just put Pullico on now. Says Martin. Yeah, I think he'll still be a wee way away, but first touch for Gerald Stennekamp. A lot of momentum going forward towards the English line, but 21 minutes already passing in this game. Still 17-0. And don't forget to hit the like button, peeps, says Cottage Core. Just the one more try needed for South Africa to be able to get themselves the bonus point. Sasha, guys, where is he? He's injured. He's out. He's not going to be playing for a little while, Sasha, due to the injury that he suffered in the game up against the Scarlets or the Ospreys, one of those sides. I think they were Welsh. Scrum for a tackle without arms, says Johan. And they will change the rugby rules again after the box win, says Piet. Okay, referee's just saying that this one needs to be sorted out a little bit for the scrum. Is Ox's injury very serious? I don't think it's too serious because that man was still like wandering around on it, but it's definitely a little bit of a concern this early on in the game and also in the season for Ox's share. Now, if he's out for the South African tour, that front row looks very different. 929 kg pack weight for the South Africans compared to 915 of England. Jack Van Porfleet now just inside of the Springboks half. They'll give the free kick away the box. England now taking the quick tap off to Ben Earl. Why is the block gone? What happened to Pollard? Pollard wasn't going to be playing initially anyway. Marnie was named in the starting 10 jersey. And Pollock wasn't named in the 23. Well, sorry, Pollard rather than Pollock. Finn Smith off to Marcus Smith. Crossed away to the right-hand side. Smith again. Nice quick hands. Out to Tommy Freeman. Pollard not in form. So here's Quiss. Atkinson almost lost that ball in the breakdown. Jack Van Porfleet gets it off to Genge. Thomas du Toit. I'm going to rip that one away. Bit of a rough pass. That was a weird one from Tommy Freeman. Almost an accidental obstruction. Colby calling to the referee on the near side. That referee is going to be Colby's best friend by the end of this game. He's already chatted to him multiple times throughout this first half, although that ref has not given him anything that he has been asking for. Ben Earl, tackled low by Jesse Creel. Van Porfleet decides to go for the left boot. And all bounces just in the field of play. South Africa will have the line out about 26 metres from their line. I resurrect the drop kick, says Ellis there. We have their money, says Yaya. And also Pollard not in form. And only 19 lights. Come on, guys, hit the like, says Dillig. And where's Ford Hamish? I think they just left him out of the squad, didn't they? For the July Internationals. I can't remember seeing his name. Maybe he wasn't there, but they have decided to go with Finn Smith and then also Marcus Smith as the other option. We have the commentary has actually created something special besides just calling a game and moving pitches. As your uniqueness, this is the Kiwi lads of law now. Brilliant run there from Grant Williams. Now going away to the right-hand side. Better step to Toy charging up to the 22-metre line. Now coming in Honeycomb. Picks it up and knocks it on, unfortunately for him. Now Marcus Smith thinks about kicking it. I don't know if that's the best choice for England. Although there was going to be a little bit of space in behind to be able to work with. In fact, that one's getting better and better for Smith's boot. Willemse close to the sideline. Oh, what a kick. And what a kick from Damian Willemse. It turned into not only a brilliant one, too, an even better one, a 50-22. And in the end, it wasn't a bad one from Marcus Smith. I felt like it was a weird time to kick when they just won an advantage. But he did it. And then from there, Damian Willemse said, okay, well, thanks for that. And we'll just send it right back down the field and put you back under pressure. South Africa front row looks formidable. Also, where's Kwagga? Is he injured? He is also in the injured list for the South Africans, but this is a kick and a half from Damian Willemse. The way that it shaped around, he kicked it from 22 to 22. That is also the benefit that you get of altitude with the distance. Now Malcolm Marx throws it long, not straight, and it's also the knock-on from Ruan Nokia. Now again, they have to make a decision here, England, of whether or not they want to keep on giving the ball back to South Africa or look to be a little bit more aggressive with the way that they're running this ball, but it's a difficult one. Because when they have the ball in hand, they're not making that many metres. Come on the block, we need to catch up to the clock, says Kotso. We haven't seen a try for a little while in this contest, believe it or not. Score, please, is still 17-0 after the 26 minutes of this game. We have there, why not put a field tracker at the bottom of the page so we can see team position. We have tried it in the past, but because I watch it through Sky Sport now, normally the tracker was about a minute ahead of where I was commentating, so it actually caused more confusion to people than not having it. Is pretty much the gist of it. I stayed up late than I thought I would. GD South Africa, I'm already writing England off. Hopefully I wake up to a closer score. It looks like a whole lot of South African girls want to practice commentating with you, says Jacques Smith. Well, most of them haven't introduced themselves, Not that I know of anyway, but 14 in fact. Maths isn't my strong suit. 14 minutes remaining in this first half. We have got there any chance Quagga Smith back from injury for the All Blacks tour. I think he's another one that's a bit 50-50. Take that, you effed up ref. Sure, that hurts. The rugby mafia is going to castrate you, says Johan. I think you should settle down a little bit, Johan. You know, making threats towards a referee doesn't make you seem like a big man. It just makes you seem like a bit of a prick. But now scrum feed here for the English. So we'll be 20 metres out from the line. Being told to play this ball. Ben Earl looking to run to the left-hand side, but Grant Williams straight on him, lightning quick after the scrum. Now Van Porfliet cross there to George Martin. And also we have there Quagga out for a year. Oh, no. Okay, so he's definitely not returning for the South African score, or the South African tour, I should say. And this one's going high. Oh, hard landing for Limser, and this time he doesn't come down with the ball in hand. Out to the right, England up to the halfway line. Skip pass from Atkinson. Goes to Marcus Smith. Risky one there. It's going to be ruled, I think, is just a knock-on for Kurtley Arendse. I like to think that wouldn't turn into a penalty. No rhythm in the English game. That is because South Africa are just swarming them. Every breakdown and every tackle was done with intent from the South Africans. And Malcolm Marks got over the ball. They'll go back now for the original knock-on. We have there when you blame altitude before the game begins. You have to ask England when they play football. If you don't have points on the board in the first half, you have defeated yourself, says Anthony. Hello from South Africa. I will go to the pub for the second half. England are a good side, hoping for a record-winning margin. And is the score still 17-0? It certainly is, yes. We had a hiss and a roar at the start of this game, and now it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's settled by any means. It's still really hectic throughout this first 28 minutes. We have there no scrums and lineouts. England planned that in their game plan. Russi predicted that and worked out his own game plan. South Africa has no problems with altitude, says Jason. We have there, you're like 10 seconds past and then Rugby Pass TV, listening to you, headphones and commentating about things. Wait a minute, where'd that go? Things that haven't happened in my TV yet. My wife thinks I'm psychic, says Justin. So what you can do, okay, they're checking this one to see if it's a deliberate knockdown from Kurtley Arendse or whether it's just ruled as a knock-on. But yeah, what you can do, Justin, if you pause me for about 10 seconds and then click play, I should potentially be about the same speed. Who scored for South Africa so far? We have seen the tries from Cheslin Colby, Thomas Tatoy, and also the try for Kurtley Arendse. You see, Arendse just ended up facing the wrong direction there. But this is going to be a weird one because you don't often see a deliberate knockdown for a player facing towards his own team. So, yellow card for Kurtley Arendse here. Like I said, you don't often see a player get a yellow card for a deliberate knockdown facing his own goal line. But it has travelled forward. They've called it not a deliberate attempt at catching the ball. Guys, have to remember the Springboks just keep building. Then we rack up 30 points in the final 30 minutes like clockwork, says Jacques. And also, wow, and yellow is harsh. You see, I would have thought it would be just a penalty if you were going to go down that route. Now, Finn Smith will kick this one down into touch. Now, a man advantage here for the English. This New Zealand ref says Inferno. 29 minutes through this contest, so just pretty much up to the halfway mark of this game. South Africans will have the one man off. Box may be tiring the English team down until halftime, says Craig. Thrown in, nicely taken by Chisholm. Losing a few metres there after the line out, but England looking to use their back line with a bit of a gap. With no Arendse, Marcus Smith looking for the 50-22, but also looking for this ball to sit up for Murley. Tried to kick it forward, completely missed it. And Jesse Creel claiming it inside of the box 22. Big shot there from George Martin. Now across to us, Professor. That yellow card as Bears, sorry. Call it what it is. Says Stan, an absolute yellow. Says App Scott there. That one's going to be put into touch. And stupid, but this is Dolman. I'm not surprised if he left it. It would have been a forward pass, by the way. Says Haino. And also we have there, it's harder to defend at altitude than to attack, says Cited. Well, I think playing at this tempo for both of these sides is going to 100% wear them down by the end of this game. And that's where your benches become so crucial. We've already seen the change for South Africa in the loose head prop role of Harold Stennekamp making his way on due to the injury of Oxenshire. Now, Van Poff, why are England kicking so often? They've gone for the grubber in behind again. It will be only 5 metres. Oh, tell you what. It's going to be a touch from Ollie Chisholm. Cheslin Colby left that one alone, trying to let it go into touch. And then it's all but stayed in the field of play. Did Chisholm? Tell you what. Oh. Well, Ollie Chisholm there, had he known. It's going to be the green ball here for South Africa, just the 5 metres out. Either way, it was going to be the South African line out anyway. Tries dried up. Yeah, it came out massively in the first little while. And then now we haven't had a try in quite some time. But there's been plenty of chances. Paul de Villiers, high tackle. And the penalty goes against Ellis Genge as he tries to decapitate the head of Paul de Villiers, who looks a little bit wobbly here. De Villiers. It's like he got hit right on the neck with a bit of a clubbing blow. And they must be aging. Well, they may be aging, but South Africa are obnoxiously good at present. As we know, will not last forever. Yeah, it's high from Ellis Genge. He pulled out straight away. And crazy how we can stream the FIFA World Cup game on YouTube and not South Africa versus England rugby game. Rugby would be so much bigger. It weren't for these stupid copyright restrictions. Yeah, although they've slightly improved. Like, it's on the World Rugby YouTube channel being live streamed for certain countries that don't have broadcasters, which is much more than we've had in the past for rugby, but there's still a long way to go in terms of these games. Like, they should be having replays up on World Rugby's YouTube channel only a couple days after these matches and everything along those lines. Try and keep people invested, try and get them signing up for their subscriptions. Currently 14 metres out from their own line here, South Africa, with the line out throw. Common sense with the yellow card as well. It wasn't a slap down at all, says Ryan. The interval music is quite good, says Inferno. Broadcast spread to countries that don't play rugby? Yes, says Kiwi. Yeah. Like, I understand why they do it, but at the same time, like you said, it's kind of a bit of it kind of cancels itself out, doesn't it? In some regards. And England must get some points now with one off for the Boks. You know, I would say if they don't score soon, England, this is going to be a struggle. My guy, have you slept yet? No. We've still got another stream just around the corner. The stolen line out there for the English. Atkinson goes for the kick in behind again. And it does go into touch. So England are playing territory here, trying to force the Boks to make a mistake. But there's a gap because they're only defending with 14 players. So that's when you try and find a way of exposing that gap. Because all that's going to happen here is if South Africa win their line out, although they've decided to go quickly with it, they'll kick it into touch. England will have the line out again, relatively far out from the line. And they'll pick and go from honeycomb. And that's best case scenario for the English here too. Ball is still on the side of the South Africans. The game has gone to sleep, says Ruben. Ambrose nocturnal now, says Kevjo. Still there. It's inside the 22, so again, they are able to kick this one towards the touchline. And of course, with altitude, this one's going to go a country mile from Mani Libok. Now, England find themselves again situated about that 35, 40 metres out from the line that they just kicked the ball away at prior. And just like Rugby 06 game, Wilkinson only kicks for territory. As in their blood damage, says Kiwi. Now, line out throw, USA versus Portugal, being played at a place called, it's Dick's Sporting Goods Stadium. And the USA, it's where we got to see the Pacific Nations Cup games taking place as well. Drop ball from England, but it has gone backwards. Emmanuel Fiuai-Bosso passes it on to Murley. He is fast off the mark. When he gets it right, he carves through. But a brilliant tackle from Damian Willemse. And Paul de Villiers locked on to the ball. He couldn't quite get it ripped away, but England on the attack. Cheslin Colby rips it out of the hands. He's looking towards his touch judge buddy. And I think the referee said it's stripped, so it's not a knock-on. De Villiers off the feet, told to leave it alone. They can also still go back to check that one if England were to score now. She asked where your tie is. Says, but boy, I decided to not wear the tie because last week or the week prior when we wore the tie, there were a whole heap of one-sided games. So I was hoping that by not wearing it, it would help. Now I'll wait to the right. Bit of a slip there for Fiwa Boso. Advantage for offside against South Africa again. Moving it on to Ollie Chisholm. Just the 3 or 4 meters out now. And they'll go back for another penalty against South Africa just on their own line. Colby is all over the field. I just love it. Says runaway brides. And quick tap taken by Ellis. Genji bumps over and does score the first try of the match for the English. They all celebrate. And that is some great power shown by Ellis Genji firing back. After getting so close multiple times, England, they eventually get themselves the try. We have got there, good score game on. Quick tap there from Genji, just bumps off Cameron Honeycomb. Oh no, it might have actually been Thomas Detoy that he got rid of as well there. The kick has gone over from Finn Smith also, so that will make the score now 17 points to 7, still in favour of the South Africans. But that is the first try that we've seen in the past maybe 20 or so minutes of this contest. The Roses don't have the confidence to attack wide, says Hannes. And no time to celebrate, it's time to score more points, says John Mills. Yeah, they do still have that man advantage for another 3 minutes or so with Arendse off the park. This is where they need to try and find their way back into the game, England. If they can limit the damage and be losing by 10 or less at halftime, the second half is still well and truly on. Hi, Ames, good to see you, bro. Says Mark, same to you. Yeah, we've had a pretty eventful old weekend of international rugby. There's still another game around the corner too, ladies and gents. The game that has taken place next will be Argentina-Scotland. We'll be covering that one on the channel as well. The referee is just looking for reasons to penalise the box. Says rugby ready. Well, that's kind of a referee's job. But, yeah, it's been a relatively high penalty count against both of these sides, the early stages of the game. Now rolling this one back, Jack Van Porfliet. Looks like he is going to be going for the box kick himself. And can we see how full, or can you see how full the stadium is? It's pretty much sold out by the looks of it. Maybe a few seats up high that haven't been claimed or haven't been bought. Little bit of a contest there on the breakdown. England lose their footing. Malcolm Marks offloads now across to Gerard Stennekamp. Grant Williams calling for some men to help protect in the breakdown as this one's going to be another box kick. Going down towards the 22, Cheslin Colby chasing after it. Emmanuel Fiwa-Boso, though, wins the ball for the South Africans, for the English. Marcus Smith hustling up towards the 22. De Villiers, does he have the ball? No, he doesn't. Ends up giving away the penalty there. Okay, not supporting the body weight there going against Paul De Villiers, who had quite a wide base in the way that he was standing. Whoever this South Africa needs to score before half-time and keep England out of scoring again. And great pronunciation, says Brian. Thank you very much. And also, why is Curry so quiet? It's a good question. I don't think I've said Curry's name once. In fact, I just had to check that he was still out there. I do see he is, but yeah, we've seen Earl. We've seen a lot of Chisholm, but we haven't seen... Oh, it's a risky pass there. It's knocked on by Grant Williams, and it was extremely lucky that it was a weird, floaty, rough pass from the English. I was going to use a worse word, but it's not PG. But back onto the field now for Kurtley Arendse. And we have got there after the spar, then Roof quickly, says Anthony. We see it there from Jack Van Porfley at the box. We're sweating on it. Grant Williams got 2 hands up to it. And just dropping the ball at the wrong time. The box giving him check. Says rugby ready. Okay, they were just asking the question to England whether or not they want the scrum or the line out due to that ball coming off the hands of Grant Williams and then into touch. 40 seconds remaining as Kurtley back on. Just made his way back on before, about 30 seconds ago. They are back to the full 15. Where's Eben injured? Late exclusion from the team due to a head knock midweek. Ball's fed into the scrum. Big push from the box. England, though, firing back with a bit of a push of their own. Finn Smith goes to Atkinson. Stopped very quickly by Mani Libok. Almost a steal that time for Dialendi, but doesn't get it. Then poor Flair. Now Finn Smith again to kick him behind. Makes no sense to me, although it might. Oh, no, in fact, to be fair, almost a 50-22. I think they're going to rule it as just inside of South Africa's half. What I was going to say is with the amount of time remaining, all that happens there is South Africa kick the ball into touch or let it roll out and then it's half time. Oh, it is a 50-22 for the English. So England will have the last line out, so it has paid off right at the final moment. I think that one went out with about 2 seconds remaining in the half, so now a bit of a team huddle from England to work out what the tactics are. I have their way over to Khaleesi and Eben, both injured. So Eben was a head knock, Khaleesi was a groin injury, by the sounds of it. And what no way. So here's rugby ready. Now Jamie George throws it in. Nicely taken at the front. Can England strike before the halftime break? Tack and run forward from Tommy Freeman. Van Porfley, it goes across to Ben Earl. They're 10 metres out from the line. Another penalty advantage in favour of England. George Martin flying down the wing. What a run from the big lock. And England score again before the halftime break. This game is far from being over. They're closing the gap to 5 with the kick to come. George Martin, he's beyond fired up. He was pushing and shoving his teammates after scoring that one. We see it there. Nice hands from Chisholm and then bumping off Vesa, bumping off Colby and getting over the line. We have there, well, says HDB. And also well done, England. We have good there. So where is Khaleesi and the other guys? So Khaleesi injured. He was on the sideline. He's still with the team, but just not playing in this game. And Eben took a head knock. I assume he's at the ground. I haven't actually seen him yet, though. Evan Etzebeth. But now lining this one up. Finn Smith. It's not an easy kick. It's right near the sideline, but he's made it look easy. Through the post, down the middle, and the score at halftime. 17 points to 14. So it has gone from a 17-0 lead early on in the game for the South Africans to now England scoring the last 2 tries. In South Africa, we call that plastic energy. Says LB, well, whatever energy it is, it's certainly working at the moment because they've managed to get back into this game. And heading into the tunnels, I think England would be more than happy with 17-14. South Africa, they would have been very pleased with what they did in the first 15 or so minutes, but they've had a few opportunities, haven't quite been able to finish it off. In terms of that second 20 minutes or so. We have got there, Let's Scrum, says Pitbull, in there too. And we have got there, Africans, says Heaney. And also, it's test match now for sure, and England going to smash the Boks in the second half, says Klaus. And the Boks are snoozing at the moment. And so we lost our best scrummaging lock and captain. WDF is going on, says LB. You know, those last-minute changes. Having no Sia Khaleesi, no Eben Etzebeth. Peter Steph Toy, he is the captain, but he is playing in the locking duo at the moment. So this is where it's going to be very intriguing to see what the team talk is for these two sides. So it's game on. I'm going to miss the second half. Says Heaney there. And a huge try for England, making the scoreline 3 points separating them, heading into the second 40 minutes. And interesting how England haven't mauled anything. Says HDB. Yeah, well, we've seen a lack of the set piece, which I think was always going to be the case in this contest, at least for the English. They don't want to be in a scrummaging battle up against the South African pack. No one does, because let's be honest, they normally end up throwing everyone backwards. The Springboks with the way that they scrummage. Is that big bad Vesa? The South Africans have been talking up. Says Jonathan, he did miss the tackle there in those final moments of the half, although big George Martin, geez, he was running with a lot of vengeance. How long is left? Still the second half. Currently sitting with 17 points to 14 as the current score. Still plenty more time remaining to see someone get out of this game with a big victory, but it is all heating up currently. And the Boks must not lose focus. They seem to invite the ref a lot to take care of their business. If it was me in the changing room, I would address that. Ref is not going to sort your ish. Do it, says So Incredible. This game's at altitude though, so I don't know if England can hold out And great game so far. There's a battle we wanted. Yeah, every single game of the internationals so far throughout this weekend have been close. And it seems like this one's going to be no different. Where is the live link? For YouTube, please. So it is on the World Rugby YouTube channel for certain locations around the world. It isn't available everywhere, which I find a little bit rough. I feel like that's one of those ones that is kind of annoying. But what we're going to do is we're going to go World Rugby. I'm going to see... Yeah, it is live on there. It's not available here in New Zealand, but currently they've got 2,740 watching on the World Rugby YouTube channel, which isn't too bad at all. Box will get 5 tries in the second half. Khaleesi got a hamstring injury and needs to be for sideline. Oh, it was hamstring rather than groin. My apologies. And I hope Rasi will share what he knows at halftime with the team. And quick Mario says, I am nutty and Kibith Reinach needs to get game time. Yes, Hillberry. Yeah, they may look at bringing him on relatively early in the second half. They have gone with the 5-3 split, whereas England actually opting to go with the 6-2 in this contest, still having Henry Pollock, Guy Pepper. Too many they can bring on in that loose forward trio. We haven't seen at all much of Tom Curry. Pollock's story is getting monotonous already. Change the scenery, please. Says Michelle. And we have good there. We substitute the ref. We will get 7. And Valimze has been great so far. He was absolutely incredible under the high ball, wasn't he? Throughout the early stages of that half, managing to win absolutely everything in the air. And Anthony Hamish, wonderful to see you again, says Judy. Same to you, Judy. It's been a pretty weird first half in terms of a game of 2 halves almost, you could argue, for that first 40 minutes. But that yellow card of Kurt Liarense, momentum change, England feeling like they've got a little bit more of a chance now. Can Pollock give the box a kick in the bollocks, says Puka there. I'm surprised that England have gotten a couple of tries after they had one chalked off earlier. And also, it's cold in the stands. At least the Boks are doing true Tuesday or choose job, says Burning Lash. Oh, unless it's supposed to be the job, maybe. Yeah, it might have been the job. Oh, yeah, I've got there. I love how they didn't make it live in South Africa, says WPP. Yeah, see, here in New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, Ireland, I think are all the locations that you can't actually watch it live on World Rugby's YouTube channel. Nothing like a Rassi pep talk at halftime. Yeah, he'll be fired up too, because this game, you know, like any game is a big one, right? But this game feels like it's got more bragging rights than some of the others. You know, this rivalry, as I mentioned, it goes a little bit deeper than just surface level. There's quite a hostility about it. They are just having a chat with, I think that's Anthony Watson in the commentary. Yes, it is 56 test caps for the English. And we have got there, does anyone know if Ox can come back? He was a game breaker on attack, not scrummaging for a change, says Kref. I don't think he can come back unless there's an injury to Gerald Stennekamp. Then they may be able to put him back on. But I also do think because it's a leg injury, they've probably taken him out for the rest of the game. Broke the Ox early on. And we broke the Springboks in the last scrum, broke their try line in the dying seconds of the first half. Pollock still to come. They will break South Africa's hearts, says Chris. And how's the hay fever, Hamish? It actually hasn't been too bad as of late. I think I've sneezed about twice today, which is much better than the normal numbers. But yes, it's been all right so far. You broke nothing, sir, says Pitbull, respectfully. And England spends 1,000 years stealing stuff from almost every country, says Big Rig. And also we have got there, I think the old leagues are getting tired and Rassi might not have much faith in his bench this early. The thing is, I think that Rassi would have full faith in everyone in that 23. Even with the late changes. These are the benches, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to do is we're going to actually chuck me to the side here for a second so that you can see exactly who's available. But Jan-Hendrik Wessels, there's a slight concern for me anyway. Now, I will mention this actually isn't the bench, so we're actually better off. Hang on, we'll go like that. We'll go back to this other one. These are the correct benches next to me here. Ben Jason Dixon in the equation. So Mako van Staden, he is now wearing number 20 rather than 19. There's a little bit of a lack of locking cover, you could argue, although Ben Jason Dixon can potentially offer a little bit of that. You've got Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Malcolm Marx has had a couple lineouts stolen already. And without a specialist hooker off the bench, that's when things could get a little bit dicey for South Africa later in this game. Whereas you've got Luke Cowan Dickey for the English. He was playing back in 2018 in the last victory for England up against South Africa in South Africa. So a lot of experience there. You've got Henry Slade, who's been around for what feels like a very long time. But South Africa, they still have their own stars. Kane and Moody. Andre Esterhazen, Reinach. These guys are the ones who can completely change a game around. Harold Stennekamp on a lot earlier. That was due to the Oxenschat injury. Yeah, I think it's still a very exciting second 40 that we're about to see. Who you backing to win now? I'm still sticking with my original prediction because I feel like if I change my prediction every time that something happens in a game, I'm going to end up like pretty much always changing it. But I'm still going South Africa by 12. It was my original one, and I'm sticking with it. We have got there Cheslin practicing his side steps at the goal line. The English winger is still looking for him. Says Creefy, that was a brutal one, wasn't it? We have got there from Asher has said, shut up. Is that to me or to someone in the chat? We have got, hey, Hamish mowing the lawn and following the match through you. Says Kipko, so hopefully it's going well. The lawn mowing, the ground looks like it needs a little bit of repairing out there at Ellis Park at the moment from a couple of those scrums. They've been tearing up the turf. South Africa needs another card if England want to stay in it. And Slater's a very good player in my opinion, says John. And how many minutes before half-time's over? Probably another, I'd say 5 minutes or so. It's actually going very quick at the moment. We have got there, remember the mind games Rassi plays. Don't even throw the game just to take the series. Or we might even throw the game just to take the series. But I believe that altitude will be the winner. Well, this is a one-off game up against the English. So throwing a one-off game to then lose a series 1-0 is definitely not a tactic that I think any coach should try and go with. And Moody is prone to a stank game. More time than not, URC form. Yeah, he did have a struggle in the URC, didn't he? Although he came back better in the second half of that last contest. South Africa 40, England 26. Where do you watch from? I'm from New Zealand watching this game. So it's currently 4:40 a.m. We have there, are you blind? Says Digital Sphere. Would make doing the commentary very difficult, wouldn't it, if I couldn't see what was happening in the game? But so that should be self-explanatory. I mean, my eyes are pretty bloodshot, so that probably makes them look like they don't work as well. But, yeah, no, I can see. But, yeah. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a great second half too. Second half is going to be a cracker. And what's the verdict on the scrums? We haven't really seen a huge amount of them at this point in time from the looks of it. We have got there, whatever you're watching from, Sky Sport Now here in New Zealand. And it is on Sky Sport 1. And come on the Boca, says Bellery. And said close game, says Rian Roots. And also, are they eating oranges? I'd assume they'll be having something in the changing sheds to try and fire them up for the second 40 minutes. At the end of the day, this game is well and truly on the line. Whoever gets this one, or whoever wins this game, they have the bragging rights for a little bit of time. Who scored for South Africa, please? So we have seen Cheslin Colby, we saw Kurtley Arendse, and also Thomas de Toy as the first try scorer. And we have got there, no, it was for a guy asking about the score. Oh yeah, but it can be quite hard to read sometimes, depending on the quality. So I don't mind reading out the score. 17 points to 14 for the South Africans over the English. But yeah, depending on what device you're watching on, it can be pretty tiny, that little tiny thing down there. I was pointing at the scoreboard, nothing else. Don't be like that. We have got there, New Zealand looks better under Rennie. We need Sasha when we meet your boys, says Cliff. Yeah, although Sasha's dealing with a few injury troubles, isn't he? So I think you don't want to rush him back in, but he will definitely be a handy asset. I think that the Marnie Libok, Cheslin Colby combo has been working to a certain extent. It just seems like the Boks kind of took their foot off the gas after about 15 minutes in this game. Springboks having English roses for lunch. English roses. It wouldn't taste that nice, would it? And geez, I haven't watched the first 15 minutes and assumed South Africa would completely destroy them. See a zero connection and getting close to the game narrative of the day. Interesting to see how he closes margins. Who scored all the tries, says Arno. So we have seen the try from Cheslin Colby, from Kurtley Arendse and Thomas de Toy for the South Africans. On the English side, we have seen the try for Ellis Genge and also the try for George Martin. And also we got there, thanks Hamish, looking spiffy with the beard. Says Shazza there. And England need to keep the ball tight and play grunt work rugby, and the Boks line-outs are poor. Which is a sentence that doesn't normally get said. Because Malcolm Marx is normally extremely accurate in that department, but unfortunately for him here, it just isn't quite going the way that he would like it to. We over there, Boks looks slow, says no, well, they'll certainly be feeling the fatigue heading into the second 40 minutes. They played that first half at a massive tempo. Alice Marcus Smith played Hamish. He's gone all right at times. looked a little bit shaky under the ball early on. And prediction, who scores the first try, second half? I'm going another Cheslin try. Who scored all the tries for South Africa? Cheslin Colby, Kurtley Arendse, Thomas du Toit. 3 try scorers that we have seen thus far. No one has got a bonus point in the Nations Championship setup as of yet. England would need 2 more tries. South Africa would need 1 more. Kind of look like the ABs made a point of resorting or not resorting to box kicks. Looking forward to a balanced game plan going forward. And whereas I would say we've had a bit of the opposite in this contest. South Africa have worked out that England don't look as safe under the high ball as they normally would. And with that, they've been able to gain quite a bit of territory and put the English under a huge amount of pressure. The second half of this one is just about to start up now, ladies and gentlemen. So we're probably about a minute away. Prediction, Pollock slips on a banana peel and scores an own goal. So here's MVN. And just a thought, but done. I assume that's cut off early. We have there Jesse being quiet, hasn't he? Yeah, he hasn't had a huge amount to do in this game, Jesse Creel. He's made a couple good tackles. He's had a couple solid enough runs. Damien Dialendi started like a house on fire. And then from there has kind of disappeared a little bit. He was trying for a turnover and gave away the penalty earlier. Don't most of the Boks play in Europe? Maybe they too suffer from the altitude this game. It could be a good point. You know, not many of these guys, like the Lions are the side that play here normally, and there's no Lions players in this whole 23 that I can think of. What happened? I went to get some chips and we conceded 14 points there. Sharks, yeah, not quite the best little patch for the South Africans, but there's still a second 40 minutes. Mark's so old, his birth certificate is a cave painting in Europe. Nice. I did one time see a rugby player kick the ball over his own posts, but it doesn't count as an own goal, says Big Rig. And also we have got their score currently, says Mark, currently 17 points to 14. The way that it does currently sit. Both sides back out there on the park. 40 minutes remain. 3 points difference between these two sides as well. Peter Steftotoy having a bit of a conversation here with Harold Stennekamp. This is definitely not where they saw themselves at halftime, the Springboks, after the start. In England, I'm just trying to see if anyone's made any subs here yet. It looks like a very similar English pack. Looks like Murley, he's just licking his mouth guard at the moment. Now, he's had some decent runs down the old wing. And Damien Vlimza is my man of the match so far. King of the high ball, great cover tackles, great tactical kicks. Yeah, that brilliant last-ditch tackle that he made earlier on in the game too, which came in about I want to say it was like the 35th minute, somewhere around there. Are the Boks playing bad or are England playing well? I think that the Boks have also played very well in this game at times, but they just haven't quite been able to get that full big statement try. But now second half underway. England kicking it off from left to right. Nicely taken from Peter Steftotoy, the captain, inside of his own 22. Is there a promotion system between the Tier 1, Tier 2 comps? No, it's just pretty much the top 12 and then the next 12 play each other in their round robin fixtures type of thing. But you can't play up against the same, like, hemisphere, kind of. But that's going to be the penalty going the way of South Africa in the breakdown. The early 1-1 by Jasper Visser. And we have got there, what's wrong with Sia? A hamstring injury, which did leave him out. Okay, let's go, boys, says Kathy there. You see, I initially thought it was groin, but yeah, I think I was telling everyone groin, but hamstring seems to be the doctor's order. Good kick towards the touchline for Mani Libok. They're looking to start the second half just as quickly as they started the first. Were the misconversions difficult kicks? I'd say not hugely. They were just pretty much trying to bring it right to left, and Colby didn't quite connect nicely with either, but he has also got one kick over so far in this game. Now Malcolm Marx throws it in, taken by Ruan Nokia. Here comes the rolling maul of the South Africans. England told to get out of it, and an advantage now awarded against England's pack. Ball looks like it's going to struggle to come out of here for a little while, and referee blows the whistle and awards the Boks the penalty. Go England, says Nazi there, and kick it for the corner. Well, now they certainly do have that option. It's going to be against Joe Hayes. I think if you put Joe Hayes in a slightly dark room, he just looks like Joe Marler. There are a lot of similarities between those two. Different haircut, of course. Let's go England, says Cameron. This one's kicked in a touch. A bit of a safe kick from Money Libok, not looking for a huge amount of distance on it. Instead, making sure that it does go into touch. Now, line out. Okay, Mark's not happy about something. He's ready to throw this one in. Where are they going to go? They go up to the back to Cameron Hanekom. Jasper Visser throws himself at the opposition. Back up to his feet. He's bumping through everybody. 5 metres out from the line. Grant Williams across to Cameron Hanekom. As his ankle's held on to. This is where England's defence is going to be tested. They need a turnover. Ben Earl almost going straight in off his feet. Visser 5 metres out from the try line. Grant Williams asking for the penalty. James Diamond said he was already out of the breakdown, so he's not going to get one. Emmanuel Fiwa Boso pick and go from better Steph Toy. Now Williams cross to the right, finds the hands of Harold Steenekamp. 43 minutes into this game, and it seems like a great second half start here for South Africa, but the thing that would make it greater is getting over that try line. Thomas Toy. They got again, bit of a counter ruck there from England. Harold Steenekamp once more. It's good defence currently and no penalty advantages going against the English, although they are getting very close to offside in the way that they're rushing up Caden Murley, calling for some extra reinforcements on the left. Now drop ball from Visser. Oh no, goes backwards in the end. Told to use it once more. Williams. Cross there to the right. Finds Hanekom. Good defence still currently. Joe Hayes looked a little bit wobbly on his feet there. Willemse can't quite get through again. Now Grant Williams short ball to Dialendi. Up to 15 phases in a row. Visser pick and go round the side. Slowed down a little bit by England. Haven't given away the penalty advantage as of yet. Steenekamp with another carry. They move within the 3 metres. A bit of a counter ruck from England. Now it's the penalty advantage. Hanekom just held up a metre short of the line. Jesse Creel calling for it left. This ball not coming out though. No advantage. In through the side. He's not happy about it either, Jack Van Porfleet. And looking at the referee like that is a great way to get yourself a card. Jesse Creel pops it on the inside to Kurtley Arendse. 5 metres out from the line. England in the breakdown. Can't quite get the steal again. 19 phases in a row. The English still holding on. 4 of those have been from Harold Steenekamp, south of the dummy from Williams. Similar to the try that we saw at the start of the Nations Championship day with Cam Roygaard. The two who are known for being snipers have scored here. Grant Williams gets the Boks back to leading by 8. What's the territory battle look like so far? England were obsessed with kicking it into South Africa's half in the first half. But second half, it's been all territory for the Boks. England haven't been able to exit their own half as of yet, but a nice salad dummy from Grant Williams. And does manage to score that try. We have got there. England will get tired of defending soon, says Andrew. Colby, he's sitting 1 from 3 today off of the kicking tee. That is also going to be the bonus point try for the Boks in this Nations Championship competition. Colby straight out in front, gets it over. Makes the score now 24 points to 14. All right, boys, 2 more please, says Kathy. And good one more, Bok, so that we can make the changes. And also 1 more please, says Pitbull. And let's go, boys, says Digital. And that has got to be fatiguing for the English there as well. They had to defend on their goal line for a long time. Bullets must come on now, Hamish. So here's John. It's kicked off high from Finn Smith. Murley chasing after it. Almost a bit of a miscommunication. In fact, it was. Penalty goes the way of England. Obstruction there from South Africa. Ruan Nokia, the man who's been penalised for that one. I love your passion, brother, says Dell. And also we have got there the bonus point. Now Jasper played 5 phases without his boots. It doesn't surprise me one bit. I think that he's the type of player who, he'd just keep on going, wouldn't he, VC? He probably didn't even realise. Taking to the corner, and that is exactly what England are trying to do here. Jamie George. Line out here once again. Nicely taken by Chesham. This one been moving back once. Although, now it was starting to move forward. Has it been dragged down legally by the box referee? Dolman says yes. We have got there, geez, I haven't watched this man in a while. Says Vishal Pocket, so welcome back. I've been told to use it again. 5 metres out, Joe Hayes. Crowd are getting loud, they're getting restless at the moment. Definitely down this end of the field. Jack Van Porthleer going back across to Chisholm. Almost an accidental obstruction there from the English. Pick and go from Tom Curry. Now 3 metres out. Chisholm plays half. He was actually going to stay down a little bit for injury. Got back up as he realised that there was a little bit of a situation starting up, which was the lack of a 9. Now off to the big man, George Martin. Did score the last try for England. Finn Smith carves through. Offload. Oh, they've dropped the ball though. England and Jesse Creel manages to pick it up. It looked like a certain try. Had the offload gone well. Marco van Staden. He is out there on the field, as well as Ben Jason Dixon. They just have it as a knock-on for now. South Africa do have the ball in hand. Looks like they are going to go for the kick downfield. You can't score from 5 metres out. Your game plan is lacking the chance. Now Williams with the clearing kick into touch. Do you pay for the app you're using? Certainly do, yes. Sky Sport here in New Zealand's about $50 a month to be able to watch the rugby. I put Pollock on immediately. Says Ruth. I don't think he'll be a mile away. We're 49 minutes through this game currently, and 10 with 23 minutes remaining. And also, can I watch that game? It's on Sky Sport here in New Zealand, Stan Sport in Australia, DSTV in South Africa. It's on the World Rugby YouTube channel for certain locations as well. Now line out here for Jamie George. Now slapped onto the side of England. That was almost a drop ball from Jack Van Porthleer. And in fact, it was. And now South Africa get themselves the scrum 42 metres out from their own line. Well, Pollard on to teach him a gentleman's lesson. Says Pitbull. We have their YouTube ads. They are picking up steam now. Bursting over the opposition 22 with support runners incoming. YouTube says if you'll wait for a better time. And also not cheap in New Zealand, hey? Yeah, although Super Sport in South Africa is brutal too in terms of the pricing, isn't it? Zachary Porthen also now on the field. They're leaving Malcolm Marks out there for a little bit longer. But now moving into the final 30 minutes. This game at the start of it seemed like it was going to be very back and forth, but England fought back well. Currently down by 10 after conceding early in the second half. Oh, Sky Sport now has gone up to $60. Oh, so they wanted an extra 10. That's brutal. All right, scrum reset again here. Okay, Jamie George is not too happy with the scrum. Ben Earl having a chat to the touch judge. We have got there Messi with sad dev on a rugby field. Says Digital Sphere. And get the rock onto the pitch for England, says John. And is it only on DSTV? Pretty much out of South Africa it is the option. And turgid stuff this after the All Blacks versus France game. Possession currently 54% in favour of England, 56% for territory in favour of the English also. Now, scrum has collapsed. No advantage. Called in the end. Damien Dealindi hits it up. Straight at Finn Smith. Grant Williams pops it up to better Steph Toy. Oh, Curry's gripping at the hamstring here. I don't think we're going to be a mile away from seeing a sub. It's whether or not it's Guy Pepper or whether it's going to be Henry Pollock who makes his way onto the South African field. Going up for, that's a hard landing there, but Emmanuel Fiawa-Boso has done brilliantly to be able to drag that down for England, who are looking good on a counter-attack here, but will they run it or will they kick it away? Murley decides to try and carve round the outside, gets through Creel, slapped down by Colby. 28 minutes remaining on the clock now, little shuffle step there from Tom Curry. I gotta say, English were good against the All Blacks in their last game, says Luke. Well, they beat the All Blacks in November, didn't they? It was probably the game that fully got Razor sacked. That's a hard landing for Colby. See Murley apologising. That kind of gives away that he took him out in the air. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would do stuff against South Africa. And is Moody there? He is off the bench, but he hasn't made his way onto the field as of yet. And also we've got there South Africa injured. Says John. Yeah, we see Chisel and Colby going up for the ball. Yeah, solid hit to the ground for Chisel and Colby. It seems like it's just as a penalty for now. Colby looks like he is going to be all right to be able to continue. He is a tough individual. He will keep on getting up when he gets knocked down. Looks like referee just trying to keep this game speeding along. 27 minutes remaining. Is Colby the most versatile player? I would definitely say he is. And I don't think it's really that close. Other than maybe... No, well, Colby's even put the ball into a scrum, hasn't he? And he's goal kicking. I think, yeah, I would say so. I know that they've got the hybrid in Esterhazen too, but yeah, Esterhazen's not taking kicks at posts. Winning penalties in the breakdowns. Well, actually, no, he is very often. Malcolm Marks now with the line out. Chance here for South Africa to go to the back. It's claimed by Roa Nokia again. Now, Mani Libok pops it up to Maka van Staren. Grant Williams, skip pass on the right-hand side. Libok delays his pass, goes to Colby. He'll put the grubber in behind. It goes into touch a lot earlier than he would have liked it to. English now have got themselves another line out from just inside of the 22. And go the box, says Veronica. Just running out there onto the field now. A few of the English replacements. Alex Mitchell, Guy Pepper. This crowd. They're booing Guy Pepper because they think he's Henry Pollock. Like, that's not Henry Pollock. Yes, he wears a headband. Yes, he's got similar hair. But yeah, the crowd are booing Pepper thinking that he's Pollock. But Pollock's still not on the field as of yet. And so did I, says HDB. Poor Pepper, eh? He'll be like, what did I do other than just look like one of my teammates? I'm going up for the high ball. One has gone into touch. It's Pepper, not Pollock. Yeah, he's still yet to make his way on, Henry Pollock. Jokes aside, they're the best breed, says Pitbull. And the mock game plan crumbling, says you think, although they are currently still leading by the 10 points, which can be absolutely crucial as this match does wear on. As Pollock on the bench, he is. Yes, they're still waiting to bring him out onto the field. Now, Ruan Nokia claiming the line out and another penalty advantage. This has to be getting close to a warning here for England, with the amount of infringements that they've had. Grant Williams going for the kick. No, in fact, it's Damien Dialendi. Awkward bouncing ball. Jesse Creel jumping after it. Marcus Smith. No, they'll go back for the penalty. I put $1,000 for South Africa to beat England. That wouldn't have been paying that much, would it, Luke? Seeing as they were big favourites heading into the game. You get back, what, like $17 or something like that? No, it must be more than that. It'd be like 170, right? We have you there, Bill, the wrong guy, so embarrassing. Says you're niddling. Yeah, I feel bad for Pepper though. But they obviously saw the hair and thought, oh yeah, close enough. Mani Libok. Now ready to kick this one towards the sideline. As soon as the ball is kicked, it should be advantage over, says Scott. Whose team are you guys on, says Meshi. Right, another change. Luke Cowan-Dickey was playing back in 2018 during the last series. We saw between these two sides on South African soil. Hopefully it becomes a bit more of a regular occurrence and we don't have to wait another 8 years before they play in South Africa again. Bomb squad will make no difference, says Mr. Pinfold. And once thrown and not straight. Oh, straight enough. There's the call there. So Malcolm Marx has got that ball at the back of the rolling maul, which is certainly rolling. Grant Williams pops it on the inside to Damien Dialendi. Anytime the Boks have been in this position on the field, England have found it extremely hard to stop them. Williams pops it up again to Jasper Visser, but into the breakdown, looking for the steal was Ben Earl. Now Zachary Porthen. Can't afford a handling area here, South Africa. If they score right now, they should be able to go on to win this game. Malcolm Marx out to Creel, who will score it out wide. And it's try number 5 for South Africa. We have got there, love the pronouncement of the R and Maka van Staren. But nice try from Jesse Creel. Ran it kind of at a 45-degree angle. Has Henry Pollock been subbed in? Not yet. They put Guy Pepper out there, which they thought was Pollock. But that's a nice bit of play. I think it was almost an accidental knockdown from Ben Earl as well in the build-up of that try. So, just outside of the fingertip reach. We have there who just scored. It was Jesse Creel. Managed to get the try. Lead back to 17, says Dunk there. And as if this kick from Cheslin Colby does go over in his 50th test. Sitting 2 from 4 today off the kicking tee. We're looking to shape this one around. This is a similar angle that he missed in the first half, but he has got that one down the middle. Makes the score 31-14 now. We've got there, where's Pollock? He is still on the bench, waiting for his opportunity to make his way on. We have there this obsession with the Henry fella is insane. I don't get the hype. See you cited. I think it's because he's got a little bit of cockiness to him. So, of course, that rubs people the wrong way. But yeah, I'm always surprised. Here he is now, Henry Pollock, out there on the field. Looks like also another change here for the English 2. Now, South Africa with the ball. Okay, Cheslin Colby still. Pollock will probably come on in the 60th minute, so he's just made his way out there in the 58th. We're going to slap it back for the English. I think it's knocked on. Oh no, they've called it as backwards. The ball's still there for England. Now Henry Pollock, ball in hand, passes off to Finn Smith. It's a mistake. Oh no, they'll go back. And it's the knock on from South Africa first off. The best commentator says, Mishi, thank you very much. Now we have got there that last game says Anazi. Let's see, we'll go like that. Yeah, we'll go like that as well. He almost caught the ball there, Jesse Creel, but just knocked it on in the process. Got 2 hands to it. What's Colby's kicking success? Currently 60% for today. He's sitting 3 from 5. Who kicked Creel's try? Cheslin Colby. 5 tries for the South Africans. They currently, I think, 17 points. Is that better than Wales did? Wales won their game by 15. Yeah, so South Africa would currently be sitting at the top of the Nations Championship table if this game was to end the way that it is currently. I haven't seen England get themselves any form of points in the second half. Now, there's Borthwick's last game, says Sock. With Pollock on now, did they boo the right guy? I don't actually think they got a chance to boo him because that was during the time when the kick was being taken and everything. So I think he snuck on there without the crowd getting to give him that welcome that they were after. Oh, collapsing at the scrum and the penalty awarded to South Africa. Going to be on the far side, Joe Hayes. Being penalised for that one. Over there, everybody knows Africans are cheats. Says Scott. Hamish, I have 8 aunts. That's a lot of aunts. Is that... Wait, no, that's not too weird, though. That just means both your parents have, they could have 4 siblings each or somewhere around there. That's normal, isn't it? Money Libok. Gets that ball into touch, or does he? No. Isn't able to find touch with it now. Alex Mitchell. He sinks the slipper into it. That is a huge kick, a bit of a slip there. Money Libok just managed to stay in the field of play. Now going for the kick back downfield. Makes the tackle on Marcus Smith. Chisholm's covered a huge amount of ground throughout this game for the English. Emmanuel Fetuwai-Boso. Sits there around 30 metres out. Grubbing him on by Finn Smith. Jesse Creel jumping onto the ball. Looking for the steal and the breakdown. Here's Henry Pollock. Being told to use it. Grant Williams pops it up to Zachary Porthen. I think South Africa will go straight back to that box kick. There you go. The English were adamant that they were the only team capable of beating the box. Now they look like England, we know. Says Ricardo going up for it, knocked on. Oh, slapped back into the hands of England though. Henry Pollock plays half. Pops it across to Ben Earl. So he's going to be almost playing halfback again, but instead now Alex Mitchell will have it left over. You must remember, when you have a good team, you must celebrate. How you do should be filled with grace. So here's Anthony close to the sideline, taken by Damian Valimza. On the halfway line at the moment. And I'm sad he even couldn't play because of the head injury. He's my number one. Yeah, it's a big concern. Another head knock for Eben Etzebeth. It was not too long ago that he said one more big knock like that and he's probably going to retire. So I hope that it isn't something as substantial as that. But at the same time, he's got to do what's right for him. That one's going to be knocked back. Marcus Smith took a heavy knock on the head from Mako van Staden there. What position is Pollock? He's playing number 7, I believe, due to the injury of Tom Curry. Oh no, in fact, he might actually be in the number 8 position. I think that Chisholm's gone back into the locking duo. But he was packing down on the back of the scrum. Now Valimza running straight. And the English line, 17 minutes remaining. Grant Williams trying to get them on the front foot yet again. Ben Jason Dixon tries to get back up. He wasn't really released in the English tackle. Now Williams back to Lebok. He'll go again with the up and under. It's been working effectively. Better Steph Toy knocked it on. Grant Williams. No, in fact, it's Lebok back there now covering. Trying to step his way through Lebok. Tackled by Chisholm. It's funny the English thought they could beat South Africa, says Luke. Congrats on 81k subs. That should be more than you pretend to say. That should be more than you pretend to say. What do you mean pretend to say? Now rolling this one back. Grant Williams again going with a high ball. Arendse not able to take it cleanly. Freeman manages to slap it back. Pressure on. Marcus Smith has done extremely well as he lost his footing in the process too. Now Ben Jason Dixon. No, it's Paul de Villiers. In fact, we'll get there eventually. It was Damien Dialendi, who could actually be brothers with Paul de Villiers. Henry Pollock with ball in hand, tackled early by South Africa. Zachary Porthen making that tackle. Had a little bit of a patch here where both sides are almost just in cruise control. Beautifully taken again from Damian Valimza. Knocked there from Grant Williams. Picked up by Cowan Dickey. And Williams might be straight back on this ball. No, didn't end up getting the turnover. Very unlucky there. Pollock just have big mouth and likes to brag. Says Geraldine. He certainly isn't the first cocky rugby player we've ever seen, and he won't be the last. It's a good kick downfield from the English. Now Valimza off the side of his boot, puts that one out. This game sucks compared to ABs versus France and Australia versus Ireland, says Sports Unfiltered. And also we have the England. Chat is going at 1,000 miles an hour at the moment. Andre Esteza making his way onto the field alongside Jan Hendrik Wessels. Esterhazen is on for Jasper Wiese, I think. Oh. Okay, they're expecting Malcolm Marx to play the full 80. So what they've done is Harold Stennekamp, who went on the field early for Oxenshire, has now been subbed. So the sub has been subbed. Something that doesn't happen too often. Now Henry Pollock, nice short ball to Ben Earl. As they start getting on the front foot yet again here, England. Now Luke Cowan, Dickey trying to go over the top of Esterhazen. Now looking to the short side. That ball's gone backwards. Manuel Fiuaibuso. Pass across. Oh, and behind. It's very disgruntled from England at the moment and not very smooth whatsoever. Malcolm Marks trying to turn it into a rolling maul, but that ball has gone down. How's it, Hamish says, Peter Lowe, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Now Pollock with the clean out. Ball is still on the side of the English here. Let's games begin now, says Joe. Now moving it back across to the right-hand side. 10 metres from the try line. Mr. Hazen getting trapped in that breakdown. Guy Pepper. They're up very early, South Africa. Probably offside there. Henry Pollock running it hard at Malcolm Marks. It's through the tackle initially of Jan Hendrik Wessels. Now back to the right. England with a bit of space here, trying to find a way through this Bok defence, who are again very quick up off the mark. Mitchell goes back, nice settler dummy from the big tight head prop with a bit of fancy footwork before being dragged down by Zachary Porth, and they'll go back for the penalty now in favour of the English. We have got their Irishman here. I should be supporting our next door neighbours, whoever they play, but somehow I always find it difficult. Wonder why. Says Puka there. And confidence is good. Arrogance brings a hard ball, says Berrant. And it's going to be the tackle off the ball. 22, so Andre Esterhazen. Are you American or Australian? You sound Australian. I am neither. I am from New Zealand. It's currently sitting 5:14 a.m., but we have still got another game around the corner. That will be Argentina versus Scotland. Boks are a runaway train, just like South Africa, says Base Sigma. Kobus Reinach makes his way on the field. And it's to replace Grant Williams. If England want any chance of being able to win this game, they need a try and they need it very soon. If they don't score within the next few moments, I think their day will almost be done and dusted. Now line out here. Nicely claimed. Maybe a little bit of a pre-engagement from the South Africans. Being told to get out of that rolling maul, still defending is Andre Esterhazen. There is the advantage now to England. That's cynical. This sounds like a yellow card. Nice footwork from Pollock. Tackled by Ben Jason Dixon. Charging on there, getting close to the try line. Thought about reaching out to be able to grab that ball. Now passed across, close to the line. England are over and they score their much needed try, their first since the first half. And it's going to be the big man, Alex Coles, manages to cross on over. It would be awesome if you had it on the screen behind you. That would be great, other than the fact that they'd take me down for copyright straight away. But Coles for his first try in an English kit. But yeah, just a good, solid carry. The locks, as well as the loose forwards, have been quite busy for the English with ball in hand, particularly Chisholm. That kick has gone over from England, now making the score at 31-21. They finish strong. There is technically still enough time. Geez, what happened? Who woke up England? And got you, says Janine there. It would look quite cool, though, if you saw like the little fellas just running around in the background. Every once in a while, just passing over. England are trying to play. Box tactics are awful. No idea why people think Rassi is an innovator. Says Sports Unfiltered. 11 minutes remaining. Money Libok kicks it off again. Chasing after this one hard is Kane and Moody, and he collides hard with Ben Earl too. Ball is still on the side of the English in the breakdown. Bit of a counter ruck. Being told to use it. And 20-minute play like demons in the box, taper off. Why? That's something that obviously they would have to tell you. Oh, that's a big shot on Damien Williams. I looked a little bit high. Hamish have a South African girl, says Megan. I haven't had a huge amount of contact with South African females, I will say. But the old Instagram DMs, they're always open. Now, 10 minutes remaining here in this contest. And hat-trick of World Cups is loading. Now, Kobus Reinach, another advantage now being in play. It's taken well. And they'll go back now for the penalty yet again. I think it's the high shot on Damien Williams. It looked like a bit of a head snapping back type of one. England invented the game of rugby, says Jason. We have there, Hamish, come home to your other home, damn it. Update score on the screen, please, says Andrew. 1 second. We'll shake the mouse. We'll give it a wobble. There we go. Anyone from South Africa, says Barto. Okay, there's not a huge amount of contact there, but there is still a little bit of shoulder on the head. Okay, from that angle, it looks like it's even less contact, but they'll probably still give it as a penalty. But I don't see a way that turns into a yellow card for Freeman. Oh, to be fair, there's a bit of that. They want to see it at full speed here. It might be yellow card worthy. It looks worse in full time or in like full speed than it does in slow motion, I believe. 1 second, I'm about to sneeze, so I'll quickly hide for a second. It reaches the off-field review stage. It will be a yellow card for Tommy Freeman here. He will spend the remaining 10 minutes off the field. Similar to what we saw in the first half for South Africa, having one man down for the closing moments. We have got there. I don't think minor head collision like that should be a yellow, but by the rules, yes. Trust me, if you do, it's tickets for you, buddy. South African woman is next level. But trust me, they are wife material and loyal as can be and tough as nails, and they love their sports, says Ricardo. Now that one's going at a touch. Egan sounds yummy, says Richard. I'm not sure about the word yummy at the end of that sentence, Richard, I'll be honest with you. But now 9 minutes left. And score, please, Bok. They'll have a decent chance here. They're up against a 14-man England. In the closing moments of this game, they should, although it was a nice contest at the line out. Malcolm Marks. Hamish needs the South African Speedos, says Inferno. I did look at them at one point. They're like $90 for the ones that Fluff the Clerk wears. Which is quite impressive, the fact that they're charging so much for so little material. Big run there from Zachary Puffin, but then just threw it away, although they've managed to regather. Loose ball for Limsa. Tackle there low on Reinach by Pollock. And again, the offload to Ruan Nokia. Now back across to the right to Amaka van Staden. I love you, Hamish, says Sonia in there, and another penalty. Tell you what, this penalty count is getting pretty high now. And another yellow card for the English now. It's going to go from bad to worse at the end. And it's going to be a tackle off the ball from Guy Pepper. Okay, it's all right. They realise now that he's not Henry Pollock. I was waiting for the big boo. Whatever there, I love the way you're rolling your ass. I heard if you wear them, people mistake you for a Springbok, says Inferno. Now about 10 metres from the line. South Africa playing up against a 13-man England now. Didn't you contact Chloe from the last World Cup? Try to set you up with her in South Africa? No, Chloe was a man. I worked that out from a very early stage because she wrote the same way that a guy did that we used to see in the chat. So I put that one to bed. I worked it out. I didn't literally take it to bed, I should say. Bad choice of wording. Now rolling maul here. About 7 metres from the try line. This one moving nicely. It should be finished off, and it is. The try for South Africa. And it's Malcolm Marks, the 80-minute man, does manage to score it. 36 points to 21. Takes them back into a position where if this conversion goes over, they would be sitting number 1 on the Nations Championship standings for this side of the draw. And what does the score, says Richard, at the moment? 31-21, but about to be 36-21. Now we have got there, Marks, your biscuit. Now we have got there, I'm seriously multitasking, watching rugby from you. Also watching the FIFA World Cup, says Theodore. Hamish, please go shout out to the Bok. We will need this win, says Runaway Brides. Now Cheslin Colby sitting 60% at the moment for his accuracy off the tee. That goes up there a little bit higher. Did I say Cheslin Colby there? I hope I did, because that's who's taken the kick. And they slap 7 shades out of view, says Berend. A good finish at the rolling maul now. 38 points to 21. 36-21. No, now it's 38. It's going to remain as a yellow card too for one of the yellows. Charlie Yules is now on the field for Alex Coles. Chasing after it was Emmanuel Fiawai Bosso, but again taken nicely by Ruan Nokia. Too easy, says Aino. Rolling this one back again. Kobus Reinach. Down towards halfway. Slapped back by Colby. But England have again managed to get themselves the possession. Henry Pollock with ball in hand, charging forward. Crowd not happy with him. Oh, bit of an injury here for Andre Esterhuizen. Esterhuizen's bad here. He looks like he's either got a stinger or a head knock, but either way, he looks like he's kind of flopping around on the ground here. I said that it's an unplayable, so the Springboks will get themselves the scrum. As Pollock playing now, he is indeed. He just had a run before. And also has made a couple tackles since making his way onto the field. We are coming for the All Blacks. We want another movie, says Barto. Russie doesn't really take England seriously. He's letting Colby be the main kicker for the Springboks. But have you seen Colby kicking for his Japanese side throughout the year? Like, I would say that it's actually a very good choice, because then you can still have the attacking flair of Mani Libok, but head on the wrong side for Andre Esterhuizen there. Just got the head messed up. And we have got, after seeing the Boks return to their DNA, I'm now worried. Where'd that go? Now worried about the upcoming tour for the All Blacks. Says Sports Unfiltered. Did Henry get booed? Yes. They also booed Guy Pepper because they thought he was Henry Pollock. How much time left, bro? Currently just another 4.5 minutes remaining here. 6 tries. England would need one more theoretically to get themselves a bonus point for this Nations Championship. Ever commentated a soccer game? I think I did way back in the day. I think it was New Zealand versus Australia. To put this into perspective, the winning margin in competitive game, says Anthony. I hope the club sides don't take games off you lads, says Boy 10. And 6 tries is good, says Cool Story. And I predicted 35-24 to the Boks before the game began. Esterhuizen looking a little bit wobbly on the feet, so he more than likely won't be playing next week up against the Scottish. He looks like he's really clenching his jaw here, Andre Esterhuizen. Maybe that's just how his face looks, though. He's an absolute tank. Is Jesse Creel not a good kicker? I haven't seen him kick in a long time, Jesse Creel. Reinach. Need to put this ball in. It is still the scrum feed. Now, big push, another advantage. Now it's scrum time for the Springboks going away to the left. Damien Dialende on to Mani Libok. They haven't finished scoring yet. Colby looking for the 50-22. Bouncing close to the sideline. Emmanuel Fiawai Bosso has to cut back in. 2 men in there for South Africa. They've got the advantage. They win the penalty. And now South Africa just really putting on the pressure near the end of this game. We have got, never seen Creel kick once. Says side of the English need to make more babies and eat more meat. They will come right. Make more babies and eat more meat. Okay. Tell us what's in your closet. Like me. Oh no, for Sports Unfiltered. I don't even know what's in my closet. Clothes, I guess. It's a championship and mini World Cup, kind of. Except you can't have it North versus South. Or sorry, you have to have it North versus South in the final. It can't be South versus South. Line out here for Malcolm Marks. How far off? My 43-17. Not a mile away because the Springboks are on the attack again. Only sitting about 7 metres out from the English try line. This one moving nicely in the right direction. Better Steph to Toy. He's got back up to his feet. There's another advantage. Maka van Staden will be held up. And they'll go back for the penalty advantage again. I said there's 16 collapsing. So another one this time going against Luke Cowan-Dickey. So we'll go like that. The next live stream, ladies and gents, just for anyone wondering, is going to be taking place at 7 a.m. New Zealand time. This ball, they're going scrum time again. They are looking for the advantage. Yeah, about an hour and a half away from the next stream starting up. I think your South African games are your highest viewers. They love you. Says Nazi Williams. And Pollock should have started, says Ruth. I need to search up for what Pollock said about South Africans last year when they avoided facing Springboks, says Theodore. I will mention a lot of the headlines of quotes that Henry Pollock have said or has said are completely false. There was a patch where everyone seemed to be going through the stage of making up fake quotes from him. And I actually think that a lot of people hate Henry Pollock because of those fake quotes, but they just never worked out that they were fake. You know, there were the ones that they said about the All Blacks, the ones that they said about South Africa. But yeah, I don't think he's actually said too much at all. Now there's going to be another penalty advantage. Jasper Vesey just short of the line by half a metre. Pollock getting in the breakdown, trying to rip it away for his English side. Now very close to the line. Ben Jason Dixon gets it over. And they'll finish it off with another try here. I think they've always been desperate, says Richard there. Ben Jason Dixon, late inclusion in this game, initially wasn't in the 23. Okay, I think England are saying that it could have been possibly short of the line. I want to see the replay now. Oh no, I think he might have got that one down for Ben Jason Dixon with 60 seconds remaining now. How many minutes left? Just the singular one. In this case, currently 32 minutes. Sorry, 32 metres. Gislin Colby sitting with the 66% accuracy today. And that's going to go a little bit higher again as that kick has been converted. 45-21. Now 20 seconds remaining on the clock. I think that's South Africa. The thing is, do they now look to go again? Or do they just kick this ball into touch? There is the full-time siren taken by Creel. Inside of their own half here. It looks like they want one more try here, South Africa. They are being aggressive in the closing moments of this game. Kana Moody runs at Pollock, wrestles him down round halfway. Reinach back again. Roan Nokia moves it on to Mani Libok. They want their half century here. The South Africans, Gislin Colby, stepping inwards round Alex Mitchell. So electric, even though we're up to the 80th minute of this game. Now Jasper Vesel offload to Jan Hendrik. Vesel's breaking the line, the big man, to get slammed to the turf. Roan Nokia slapped on by Ben Jason Dixon. Moody cutting inwards. Back up to his feet to have another go at it. Now Reinhardt, short side, off to Creel. That ball's going to be dropped backwards. They've ruled it. Or has it? Knocked on by England, so advantage to South Africa. Of course, it is only a knock-on advantage rather than the penalty one. Now Reinhardt back across to Malcolm Marks. Offload to Creel. It was transferred cleanly. And South Africa bring up their half century. Referee looks a little bit confused at how it got there. But it might just about be another try. We have got the well done, South Africa. Great result. You managed to keep the electricity on the whole match, says Chris. And almost a cricket score. Yeah, this is turned into a very dominant second half. South Africa making a statement. Oh, okay, it's no try. And that is now going to be the end score in this game. 45-21. The victory for the Springboks. They will move to the top of the Nations Championship standings. But an emphatic start and a statement victory here for these South Africans. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've still got plenty more coming up in the near future for these two sides. We are going to get to see South Africa go head-to-head with Scotland, then Wales over the next 2 weeks. And then after that, for the English, they have got Fiji and Argentina as their 2 next fixtures. But we have got a review that we will be releasing after this, probably in about 30 minutes time. And then in an hour 30, we have got our next live stream. That will be the one going up against the Scottish for the Argentines. That'll be the next one coming around the corner. But nonetheless, yeah, thank you all very much for watching. It has been an eventful one, that is for sure. Thanks so much, Box of the Champions, says Philip. And also thanks so much, says Galvin. No worries at all. Man of the match, I'd still give it to Valimza with how he played. Although Vesa might be a decent shout. He had a busy old time. Call it a hiding. Says Anthony there. And awesome commentator says Digital Sphere. Thank you very much. And England are lucky, says Theodore. And Fair Play Box, dominant victory, says Puka. And there too. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching. I will see you all for the next one.